Okay.
What did he say?
Adam. Chocolate rain.
Chocolate rain. Some stay dry, but others feel the pain. Chocolate rain. I love that song. It's stupid as fuck, but I love it.
What?
That's
You
the
ne-
song.
A dumb song I don't know about?
You never heard of
Chocolate Rain.
You never heard of Chocolate Rain?
Hold up.
The devil. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Gosh, that was like the glory days before like YouTube was like really big.
Chocolate Rain by Tay Zonday?
Yeah, by,
Yes.
by Tay Sunday, yeah. So you've never heard it?
No!
Dude, it's
God, his
amazing.
voice is really good.
Like, but are you playing it?
Out loud, all of us.
I got your earbuds. And,
all of it. Out loud.
Oh, you...
Out loud, motherfucker. I want to hear
yeah,
it too.
we need to all
Song
hear
slaps.
Hang on. Let me see if I can just change it through the... Nope. That's not what I wanted. I know there's a way to split
Rain.
audio on this.
Just take out your earbud.
No. I refuse.
Why do you gotta be so difficult, Mr. Pompadour like head? Look at your hair.
It's not a pompadour. It's just my hair. No, not that.
Sure, taking a while just to play a song that you could be playing if you just took out your earbuds.
It's not my problem. Oh, here we go. Media output. There it is. There it is. There we go.
Chocolate rain. This is classic YouTube.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Like true golden age. Okay.
But Mitchell, ads are they're I can't even make a joke about it. Fuck ads.
Yeah,
I can't even pretend.
Okay, well, welcome back, guys.
Are you not keeping in the chocolate rain part?
Oh no, I will be.
Oh, you will be?
I
Okay,
have to
good.
go in after the fact.
Good,
and-
good.
Yeah, I have that saved.
OG YouTube.
OG YouTube, like beautiful.
Howdy, everybody.
I'm worried.
What? Why?
Chocolate.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, my name is Mitchell.
I am Jacob,
I am Phil.
and we are late.
I mean,
What?
we're always late.
Well, no, I have the body of a 90-year-old man, so I have the back of one. So you know.
That I'm currently dying, but I
Yeah.
figured that the sacrifice of me just doing this and being here is okay enough.
Yeah, like I start feeling better, and Mitchell's like, "Oh look, I'm sick," and just God hates us. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
But you know what? I'm not gonna let that stop me from doing this episode.
Yeah, so Mitchell might not be talking a whole lot because you know every other word is a cough and some phlegm, and it's super tasty. So you know that.
Yeah. I cough more than my coworker that smokes. That's really saying something because I think she smokes like a pack a day.
As I take a massive hit from my vape. So, before we start, as always, we have some announcements.
Yep.
First off, we got a new Patreon member. Want to give a shout out to them. What was the name? Asher?
Did you want me to look it up? I thought you had it up on your phone.
I'm stupid, so no. I expected my ailing memory to remember, and it failed me.
Man, you're like me having a memory of a gnat.
Yep, I think it's Asher. I think.
While we're looking that up, another quick announcement: we will be launching the Q&A thread for our upcoming anniversary episode. So keep an eye out for that on the Discord.
That is not the name that popped up for me.
Yeah.
And now
do we have two?
Now I am confused. No, no, we don't. I just give me a second. I was prepared for this, but where is it? Where is it?
Oh, okay. So it was just one. I don't know where you got Asher from.
Well, hold on. No, now I have to find it. Now it's personal.
Well, continuing on.
Anyway, so as for the one Patreon sub that we actually have, thank you, D's Nation.
Right fucking here.
I understand.
That is a different name.
And then they sent a personal message and said, "Hey, this is D." So that's how I know. So fuck
That's
y'all.
fucking weird.
Fuck y'all's Patreon.
Because your email says Asher. But the Patreon says D's Nation.
But this is from Patreon.
That's fucking
We
weird.
here at Lorecast Eternals are really confused.
And we're absolutely doxing this man.
We have a new person. Welcome. Sorry if we doxed you by accident.
Whoops.
Just everyone listening, ignore that last part.
We'll be. Well, guys, we're almost there. We're almost at 2 years. Technically, we're at 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're delayed, so
We're delayed.
Yeah.
So we're delaying our
Remember,
anniversary.
every time we do something, just know that we suck. So it's probably
and
late.
the God or either gods hate us.
But we will be doing the second anniversary episode.
2 Electric Boogaloo.
Anniversary episode 2 Electric Boogaloo will be
Ayo.
our next episode in two,
remember,
in 2
boys,
weeks.
wear your Hawaiian shirts.
Yes.
We're going to be doing a Q&A like we did last year, mainly because we don't really have the stuff ready to do streaming or anything crazy like that. And the Q&A was pretty fun, and we have a
Yeah,
lot.
that was a lot of
we
fun.
have a lot more people now, so maybe we can go for 6.5 hours.
Oh my god, I would.
That would require y'all to get here early.
At like 9.
No, I
At like
think
9.
we would just come over Friday night,
And
go
stay.
out binge drinking, and then wake up the next day and do it.
Yeah. That's kind of the vibe. I
As
was
far
getting
as
at.
me and
Yeah.
Phil are concerned, many cigarettes will be smoked.
we
What are you
could
talking about?
we
I
could
know.
do it outside so you can smoke while doing it.
Oh my god.
Gonna be injecting nicotine into my blood.
Yeah. But we're gonna be opening up that channel on the Discord. It will be there. Philip, get on that.
Will do. It'll be up next month.
See, the sad part is, the really sad part is, that's not a joke.
No, I'll try and get it up in the next couple days.
Yeah, we said we wanted to have it open for a week, I think.
I mean, we could have it open for a week, or I could just go home tomorrow and like.
It could be like a week and a half.
Point being, it's going to be open, and at some point in time before the episode, we are going to close it, and we're not going to have this whole, like, questions coming in as we're doing the episode, because that
Okay,
shit
no, but that was kind of fun though.
got fucking rough.
It was rough, but
How
also,
do I
like, it
talk
was
to
cool.
women?
With your mouth.
Oh my
Moving
God.
on.
And just
Oh
like,
my god, that
and-
was
something else.
that was something.
And just
that was
like-
a lot of fun though. I did actually have a lot of fun with that.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Like if for third year anniversary, like honestly, if we could do streaming and do that live, I would actually. Do
That'd be
that.
really cool.
That'd be a lot of fun.
But just like last
And then
time.
we'd get like Allie blasting us on full, like, "Hi guys, how's it going? You want to talk about magic?" And it's like, "Wait, Allie, no, hold up, stay on topic, stay on target, stay on target. This is an Age of Sigmar podcast."
it would crack cocaine. That's what
Oh,
that
yes.
would be.
we would need to go acquire the Panzer chocolate. And if you get that reference, I love you.
Me with
By-
my
oh, by the
entire
way, though-
squad stock of amphetamines.
Yeah. By the way, though, actually, it was a platoon. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
I'm so sorry.
On that note, having mentioned Allie, happy birthday!
Happy birthday to our first moderator, Allie.
Yes, and we
How do you
love
say
her very
happy
much.
birthday in Spanish? Buenos.
I have no idea
Feliz-
because I'm
Feliz
uncultured, so I don't
Navidad?
know.
No,
No, Feliz Navidad is
It's
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
And then
I can call it
Feliz
Jess.
Cumpleaños.
I can call Jess, and she can say it in German.
pardon me for the burp.
I think it's Feliz Cumpleaños, but
like
I'm
that.
I'm butchering
know.
that, and we're
Point
continuing.
being, happy birthday to Allie. She was our first mod.
She's been
doing
around
a-
for a really long
She
time.
was
She
one of the
was-
first people in the Discord.
the second person in the Discord,
Second person, yeah.
and we like to really hold that over her.
Yeah, that was. She was like, I was first, and it was like, wait a minute.
Wasn't the first one Colt on the server?
No, it wasn't Colt.
No, it was
He
Colt.
Was it Colt?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
Colt.
it was.
Yep.
Yeah, no, because we were actively talking to him, and he was like, "Hey, how do I like join y'all's Discord?" We were like, So we haven't actually made it, but we're in the process. So, like, would you like to join?
So back on topic once again. Happy birthday to her. She's been our first mod. She's been great at her job doing. She's a really cool person to hang out with, and we just wanted to show our appreciation and thanks, and hope you had a great birthday.
Yes.
Also, you'll be doing the next competition
Yes,
soon.
Allie will be starting the next Discord competition.
Because fun fact, we do not run those.
soon.
She does.
Yeah, me
Soon, trademark.
Yeah, it was a me and her thing, but she is a lot more together than I am, so she normally takes the lead. But the next competition for the Discord, whether it be painting, building, or whatever the fuck, will be starting relatively soon. So if you're in the
I
Discord,
think the next one is supposed to be lore writing.
it's something I forget.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, keep an eye open for that if you want to be a part of that. And yeah, that should be fun.
We'll get with her soon and discuss that.
Yeah.
And on that, talking about lore and whatnot.
Hang on, wait a minute. Before I had
Before
my
I
checklist.
proceed to go scream.
I had my checklist,
Yes.
and
Patreon, we
we're
did
down
that.
4. We're
Q&A
now
we
on Phil's rant.
So yeah.
It is my time.
So, brought to you by Lorecast Eternals, a new semi-monthly, bi-monthly, or no, bi-weekly. A bi-weekly episode we're calling Bitching with Phil.
Bi-weekly? We don't even podcast bi-weekly.
We try, we fail.
We fail.
No, we tried bi-weekly.
Shut up and bitch!
And then we realized we all were fucking hating
Shut
each
up
other
and
after like
bitch!
4 months of it. We were like, we're not doing this anymore.
We're still technically bi-weekly.
Are we really?
Yeah, it's one in
We went,
person and one over
went from
Discord.
one every 3 weeks to like bi-weekly, and I'm listening there going like, God
Listen,
damn.
I want to say like, how are you this bad? But like, we've been fucking that up a lot, so I can't even blame you. But
know,
yes,
right?
it's supposed to be one in person and then one over Discord for 2 a month. We just suck.
Oh my god.
lot.
Yeah. The past like 3 months have just been so fucked.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So-
Yeah. No, I keep having to travel to go deal with family shit and like, oh my god.
So
yeah, no. Okay.
The topic of this bitch be real quick is hold on. This episode was the origins of Sigmar, which meant a lot of this is gonna almost
No,
all of
it's
this
exclusively old world.
there might be some connections to AOS, so it might get brought up.
yeah.
But like 95% of this is gonna be about stuff that was written during the world that was. So it's fantasy because Sigmar, who is very much still a character in AOS, who's a god and one of the most
Literally
most
has
powerful
the entire game named after him.
Yeah, one of the most powerful and important characters in the game is from fantasy. So all of his origins are from fantasy. But what that meant is we had to go trudging through fantasy lore, and it rekindled the hatred in mine and Phil's hearts.
For a lot of the destruction that they pulled in the end times and moving into AOS. Now, having said that, let's make this explicitly clear. We still like AOS. We like... God, what did I eat? I am like
Tacos.
just gaseous as hell.
You had
Yeah,
tacos and
tacos.
queso.
In case
It's the queso.
And then
And some
you
of it was
had
spicy.
really good cheap ice cream.
Oh my God.
Okay, no, we
So
discovered
good.
this. We discovered this ice cream place where they're an actual storefront for a distributor, so they get their ice cream like
Dirt
cheap as
cheap.
shit. We walked in, bought between the three of us, we bought 5 scoops of ice cream, and we were
was
all
like
standing there
$10.
expecting to pay like $8 a person. And the guy was like, and I walk up and I'm the first to pay, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that'll be $4." And I was like,
No, it's like 3.
It was
$3 and
$3.26.
change.
It was $3.26.
but like round
Yeah.
up $4. But he was like, "Yeah, that'll be $4." And I was like,
technically,
"Wait, are you?"
mathematically, that'd be a round down to 3 because it's under 50. But just saying,
I will hurt you.
that's fair.
But no, he was like, "Yeah, that'll be like $4." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, this is the storefront for the distributor. We get all of our shit not at distributor prices, but at purchaser prices."
Guys, I have news. This is actually not for y'all. This is for the viewers.
Okay.
I found a distributor for bomb pops, which are very difficult to
It's the
find.
same guy. It's the same.
It's the
store.
same guy, and I can buy 15 bomb pops for
No.
$12.
No, 12 for 15.
You know what? Doesn't make a difference. It's still cheap, and I got my
Listen, when Mitchell heard
my
this news,
fix for bomb pops.
when Mitchell heard this news, his eyes dilated like a cat bathing in catnip.
And when I mean bomb, I mean
He
like
gave
the
this man too
banana
much power.
fudge bomb pops. These
Yeah,
are
the OG
not
banana
like
fudge.
Captain America bomb pop. Banana fudge.
That's America's
He gave
ass.
this man too much power, and Mitchell is going to be lost in the sauce.
So I would just like for everybody to point out that Mitchell, between the three of us, he's the only one under 200 pounds. We fully expect
Not
that
for
to
very
change.
long.
Yeah, you don't understand how much weight I lose because of hockey.
He's gonna be fucking.
Mitchell, I think you underestimate your love for bomb pops.
Listen, all I'm saying is when Mitchell posts in the Apotheosis chat about him running and jogging, just know from now on he's going to be doing that, but he's going to be double fisting bomb pops the entire time, just shoving them in his face.
Oh man.
Okay. But back to our regularly scheduled bitch spree.
Yeah. No, so just to make this clear, AOS, we absolutely love AOS. We love a lot of the new lore that's coming out and things like that. But rereading some of the old lore just reminds me and Jacob. It just reminds me and Jacob that like there was a lot of really cool and nuanced stuff that happened in the world that was that they with the end times and going into the Age of Sigmar lore, they kind of just left behind. It's really sad because some of it was really good and really interesting.
Well, the cool thing is, this actually goes back to a question that was asked from the last anniversary episode. Where it was one of the questions that took a little longer to explain. Where I said one of my biggest problems with AOS was the stuff that they brought from fantasy. In my opinion, wasn't like the good stuff. It was the stuff that I felt should have been left behind. Mm-hmm. And it kind of goes back to like there's a bunch of cool shit that wasn't brought over to AOS, which really just sucks because it was really fucking cool. And instead of bringing the cooler shit that like I think fans would have enjoyed more, they brought aspects from the world that was that just kind of sucked. And like Phil said, this has no bearing on how I actually feel about Age of Sigmar lore. It's beautifully written. It's a lot clearer and not less as hypocritical as fantasy lore. It's really good.
Well, not necessarily hypocritical,
well,
but
not contradictory there. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
Not as contradictory. So, like, I still love AOS lore, but it's just one of those things where you read it and you're just like, man, wouldn't it have been fucking nice if, like, this was still... You know what I mean? So, anyway.
Yeah,
bitch away, my friend. Bitch away.
Yeah. No. Like, wouldn't it have been nice if we got to see some of the old human gods and, like, some of the other dwarven gods and things like that? Because, for instance, while we were reading up on Sigmar's origins and whatnot, we reacquainted ourselves with the old human pantheon. And because one thing that a lot of people forget is that Sigmar was born almost 3,000 years before the end times.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was an entire pantheon of gods that Sigmar himself worshipped.
And that's
when he was a human.
And that still went strong into the Empire. Like the pantheon of those gods were still worshipped during the end times.
It's just that Sigmar also became
he joined
transcended
it.
Joined
whether
it.
he actually joined it or not, the men of the Empire worshipped him as a god.
It's like
Talos from fucking Elder Scrolls. Yeah. Whether because I know he like descended, and it might be a speculation that he was trapped in the winds of Azir during end times and not actually a god or whatever the fuck. Point being is the men of the Empire worship Sigmar as a god.
Yeah, and so that was one of the things that reading up on this lore and whatnot, and a lot of the lore that we're going to be talking about focuses around the series called the Time of Legends. And it's Heldenhammer, God King, and
no, God King's the third one. It's Heldenhammer.
Well, I was just listing them as I remembered them.
No, that's fair. It's Heldenhammer. The third one's God King, and I had the first book, not the second. I forget what the second one's called. If you give me 1 second, I can find it. But
don't look at me.
It's the Mitchell's like don't look at me.
Shit, what was it called?
Give me 1 second. I'll find it. Hold on.
Just go to that Discord message.
No, I am. That is 100% what I'm doing. But yeah, it's centered around those 3 books because that goes into detail about
that's
Sigmar's
literally
young life.
The first book is about him as a boy. Really, he's only like 15.
The beginning of the first book, he's 15, I think.
Yeah, he's like 15 to 25 in the first book.
Technically, he wasn't born yet.
The beginning the beginning of my book, he is born.
Oh,
you might have been reading. Well, because we have other places that we find lore from,
Yeah.
so you might have been reading beforehand. But at the beginning of the first book, Heldenhammer, he is 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in the second book is him fucking around with chaos.
Empire. It's called Empire.
Empire. There we go.
Because the second one is about him building the Empire, and I think
Yeah.
having to deal with chaos shenanigans.
Yeah, it is. And then the third book is called God King because that's when he defeats Nagash and he kind of starts becoming addressed as the God King because he literally fought a god and he's king.
And that's before he has to fight the first ever chosen Warcart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
So I think after that's when he fucks off.
Yeah, it is. There's some debate on like when exactly he becomes the God King, whether it's when he defeats Nagash.
Hang on.
Or
do we need to explain what this podcast is even like? This episode's about?
We said it's about the origins of Sigmar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was I downstairs getting water?
Yes.
Okay.
Potentially.
Actually, technically, we said it while you were sitting right here, but
You're sick. You get a pass.
I had the memory of a gnat.
Yes, you do.
Chipmunk on crack. That's my go. That's my go-to.
No, that's me. It's just a goldfish.
It's your ADHD manifest.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Dude, this podcast is so bad for my ADHD.
But it's so much fun.
It really is.
Dude, if you ever start taking medication for your shit, this podcast is gonna crumble. Me and Mitch are gonna be like doing our thing. Is to be like, "Hey guys, my name is Philip." That's gonna be your mood the entire time.
The reason I don't medicate is because whenever I get on, whenever I get on medication, I'm like, "You're wrong." And then it's just like, but I'm right. And it's like, no. My memory is actually working now. You're wrong. No, but like, I think I'm right. And then I'll just smack the shit out of you and go, no, I'm right. Moving on.
Oh, so
I get angry when I'm on medication.
You being medicated is the reason why me and Mitchell take you in the back alley and shove a fucking ice pick through your neck. Gotcha.
Yeah, something like that.
I was gonna
No,
scream,
I get angry on medication.
What happened to Phil? We whacked him. That's what happened. Anywho, back to our
Jimmy,
regularly
take out the dog.
Back to
For
our
a walk, Jimmy.
back to our regularly scheduled bitching spree.
But yeah. No, so like for instance, there's some really interesting gods and whatnot that arise. For instance, in the story, there's a dwarf who is just the other big thing that they completely gloss over is just how close, in going into Age of Sigmar, is just how closely tied the OG dwarves, the old holds, in the world that were tied to humanity and the rise of the Empire. Like, the original script, the original written language of the Empire is based on dwarven runes. Right? Isn't that what you were saying?
It was something they'd used to like categorize military supplies and like soldiery and whatnot.
But didn't you also say they went on to go teach it in schools?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was that script in particular or just generalized written script, but in some capacity, yeah, human handwriting is somehow based on dwarven script a little bit.
Yeah.
Dwarvic runic script, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would imagine that's probably the only script they used.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess they could have been a multi-script language just like Japanese. But anyway, moving on. So, and there was just some nuances like that. And then there's the entire pantheon of the human gods. Like, for instance, there was, the big city of learning. I forget what the title or the name of the city ends up changing to in more modern the time of Karl Franz. Whenever I say modern times, I mean Karl Franz's time. But, Tal's city.
Oh,
it's like or Teals. It's like
Tal.
Talabek.
Telebeckland.
Yeah, I think
that might be.
But
wrong.
that
might be wrong.
Yeah, but that was a big city in Sigmar's time that I believe ends up becoming. Oh, I'm gonna forget. But like, there are several big cities that are devoted to the some of the big gods in the human pantheon.
I know Midland is hardcore a city dedicated to Ulrich, because that was Boris Todbringer and whatnot.
Yeah,
and that he had soldiers call it the White Wolves and whatnot, and that was very much like they had a huge shrine to Ulrich. And Midland was like the home of the Flame of Ulrich.
Yeah,
Ulrich is god. It's the human god of battles and winter. I think winter,
God of War and winter.
God of War and winter, and maybe wolves, but definitely God of War and winter.
Yeah. But yeah, so like there's a bunch of really cool gods and things like that end up getting left behind going into Age of Sigmar. And it's just really unfortunate. And this goes back to the whole we hate end times, because during the end times, like all of the human gods either lost all their power, became irrelevant, or fucking died.
And the same thing happened with the Elven god, and the same thing happened with the Dwarven gods, and yada yada.
Yeah,
yada.
and it's really unfortunate because the dwarves, the really cool thing about the dwarves is that the beings that the dwarves worship as gods in the world that was,
I think except for Valea, Grimnir, and Grungi, I think they were gods from the get-go.
Yeah. Again, this isn't a Dwarven God podcast, so we didn't look too closely at this. But there are several major dwarves, very important dwarves, who are around in the time of Sigmar, who physically help Sigmar. And their contributions are so great that they end up becoming worshipped as ancestor gods during the time of Karl Franz.
Yep. Hey, seriously, you want to stop molesting my cat?
No. He's over here petting Hephaestus.
I hardly ever get to see him, and I love him.
You gonna cry about it? You gonna seethe?
Don't. Mauled.
You gonna cope?
Never.
Take the L.
Don't care, cry about it, don't want to hear about it.
Didn't ask. Don't care, didn't ask.
Cry about it.
Seethe, mauled, cope.
Would you like a cope cage?
No, because it'd be pointless.
Oh man, that was funny.
That's That's a more political joke.
Yeah. Well, it's a warfare joke, but anyway, moving on.
Yep.
Yeah. And so there was just some really cool nuances that we found inside of the lore while we were researching.
And to a certain degree, like, I kind of get why the human gods weren't included, because like Sigmar's the god now and da-da-da-da-da, but like I understand them making
Chaos can have its pantheon. Why can't humans have theirs?
I understand them making the older characters from fantasy into gods, like Teclis and Tyrion and Nagash and Sigmar and blah 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 blah, blah. Like, and I get that, but like, I just think it would have been cool if there were a pantheon of lesser gods, like there was for Death before fucking Nagash ate them all.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been cool if like Sigmar's the god king of and he resides in the Zir. But it would have been cool if he had the the older gods behind him that might not be as powerful anymore, but it would just.
But they're literally ancient gods. Like,
I just think it'd be neat.
Yeah,
I don't see how that would impact the lore or the game, wrong.
Yeah.
Or in a negative way. I just thought it'd be fucking cool. But like, no,
not to mention, then you could that in term of game wise, that could end up with some really cool flavor text. Like, it wouldn't necessarily affect the game at all, but like whenever you have the cities of Sigmar armies, which are just. That's the other thing I don't like about the city of Sigmar. The cities of Sigmar armies is it's literally just every old world faction that was like vaguely human crammed into one.
That doesn't have like a dedicated faction.
To be fair, they're getting
like the Dispossessed.
they are getting a complete reboot with the Dawnbringer books coming out.
No, I'm glad for that.
We have gotten a couple new City of Sigmar models too, which is nice. But like, chances are every City of Sigmar model we're gonna get is probably gonna be human. But like, if you're gonna cram
one's an ogre
with a fucking human on top,
hey,
so
we take our victories where we can take them.
Fair, but like realistically, like if you're gonna have a group that is comprised of humans, dwarves, dark elves, like every fucking basically species of order except for Seraphon under the sun that doesn't belong to a specific faction, I just feel like it'd be better if that was represented. And City of Sigmar, if you want to have like OG dwarves and elves and shit in your army, you're using old ass models. Okay? I don't think they're ever going to get new models for the other species, for the other races, besides
Especially
humans, or
bringing...
if humans are attached to them. So there's your fucking ogre with the human riding it.
Yeah.
Like, they're never going to be like, here's a whole new line of dispossessed dwarves specifically for the cities of Sigmar. I just don't see that happening.
Rest in peace.
I know, but I want Bretonnia and Tomb Kings back so bad it makes me want to cry.
I mean, we're getting the world that was back on tabletop. But it's not
to a certain extent.
It's Forge World.
It doesn't matter. Oh, is it? Is it all
really?
Forge World?
It's Forge World.
I thought they were getting rid of Forge World though.
No. So
I think they're redesignating.
I would absolutely love to have Bretonnia, and I understand why they got rid of Tomb Kings, because you can't copyright the Tomb Kings. You can't copyright skeletons in Egypt. That's why they did Ozark Bone Reapers.
Yeah.
Bretonnia, you can
French Arthurian, like there's enough of a difference, I think. There
is an easy way to kind of like tweak them a bit to making them unique.
Honestly, I would even take Bretonnia if they just confirmed that they're Flesh Eater courts. Like, that wouldn't be the Bretonnia I want, but like at least they would like acknowledge that like they existed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so yeah, it just sucks because like I understand that fantasy lore had 30 years of bloat to it, and it was very contradictory. But there was just a bunch of really cool, unique shit, and like,
to give you an idea,
I would love to play OG Dwarves again.
Yeah. At one point, Games Workshop had like an entire thing where they were just commissioning writers to create new minor gods. Like, that didn't last very long. They only created like one or two, and then they had copyright issues.
Looks directly at the Fuster Cluck that wasn't a lol.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
No, that's exactly what caused it to stop.
Yeah.
Is the shit with Malal.
Because that was GW being a prick. So kind of.
By the way, do we want to get into this episode finally?
Almost.
No,
we're at 30 minutes.
We're almost there, I promise.
Okay, we're almost at 30 minutes.
Like, at the end of the day, what it is like, fantasy armies had swagger. They had swagger to them. Different armies had different swagger to them, and I like that. And like, yeah, we have Fire Slayers and Karen Overlords, but maybe I just want to play OG Dwarves, and you can't really do that. Or maybe I want to play just.
You're playing Cities of Sigmar.
Yeah, or I want to play like OG Empire, but you can't really do that. You're playing Cities of Sigmar, but like, you can't just have just. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just have like just the dwarves from for cities, because like there's not enough, and the rules don't support it correctly, and I just feel like it's limiting, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because maybe we have these cool races and whatnot, but maybe you kind of want to have a little flashback or a little, flashback to the OG game and just have those models and have those armies, and you just kind of can't now.
Yeah.
You can, but it kind of feels hollow.
Yeah. Well, not to mention the Empire, to a certain extent, the flavor of just the Empire and the dwarves themselves, because we're going to talk a lot about them because they're so integrally important to Sigmar's origins. But the OG dwarves and the OG Empire, especially during Sigmar, the Empire, especially during Sigmar's time, they were clans. They were different clans of people.
Barbarian clans,
Tribes.
basically.
Yeah,
barbarian
clans
tribes,
or tribes. It gets used interchangeably.
But they were barbarians essentially.
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah, they weren't much better. They had cities.
I mean,
and whatnot,
Sigmar only ever fought half naked.
Yeah. They were disciplined and didn't like eating people like the Norskin or the Norsey did, but besides that, they were basically just barbarians.
Yeah. To give you an idea, they still used bronze instruments of war when Sigmar was a kid.
If they wore armor at all.
Yeah. Well, no, bronze instruments of war, as in bronze weapons.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Bronze armor, bronze weapons, and
Shall we?
anything else you want to bitch about, or is that the extent?
Nah, I think we're ready.
I like how that wasn't really bitching; that was just being sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this episode is the origins of Sigmar. That is what this episode is about.
Because it's called the Age of Sigmar. You gotta know who Sigmar is.
We talked about him briefly during our Gods episode, but that
we
was
didn't go too much into his actual origins.
yeah, that was
from when
almost
he was human.
That was almost exclusively him during AOS.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be primarily about his time as a man, not a god.
Yeah.
We might talk a little bit about when he was a god, but this is mostly going to be him being a normal ass, not normal, but a human.
Yeah. Yeah.
A very killable human.
Yes. Very much could die, except that he was blessed by the pantheon of men.
Basically.
Yeah. That is one important thing to note is that during the reign of Sigmar, we see the first of the Everchosen, because Archeon was not the first.
He was the 13th?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sigmar was alive for the first of the great chaos invasions,
Which would be Morcar.
yeah, and Morcar was the first Everchosen.
So, Mitchell, you said you read a little bit about stuff before Sigmar was born?
No, I was not before, but it's when Sigmar was born.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. So, I think I'll take the helm then for the beginning, because my task was to read the first book, and that starts when Sigmar is 15, I believe. Yes, I think he was 15.
Yeah. Which at this point in time he'd basically be a young adult.
Did you want to start with his birth?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I will.
Actually, yeah.
And
Like his actual origin?
so and the cool thing is the story of
spawn
Sigmar's
point.
younger days is also the story of how Azazel became a thing. I don't know if Azazel is in AOS.
I don't
But he
think
was-
so.
he-
He'd be a member of the Hedonites.
Yeah.
And he's not in their book.
At least
so
not yet.
I don't know, yeah.
Well, I know that
Maybe in fourth he'll
I
come
know
around.
I know that Azazel, he was the leader of Slanesh's armies, the
Yeah.
Ecstatic Legion, I think.
No, that's
No.
that's Sigvald.
Esoteric Legion.
I don't remember.
He
was a very important
He
player.
was, I think he was Slanesh's favorite.
Yeah, until Sigvald came around.
Even no, he was Slanesh's favorite. Sigvald.
No,
Sigvald was Slanesh's favorite.
mortal. Yeah, you're right.
Azazel was Slanesh's favorite, demon.
I forget that Sigvald doesn't become a demon prince until we get to AOS.
Oh, is he demon prince AOS? Oh, he does have the demon keyword. No, he doesn't.
He's mortal. Technically, he has the mortal keyword in the game, but
He's mortal, kinda.
he's basically a demon prince.
So Sigmar,
Technically, he doesn't have to live in the warp. Actually, well, no, I guess, okay. If you slice up a demon prince as saying whether or not they predominantly live in the warp or in reality, well, not the warp, the realm of chaos. Technically, I believe that would make him mortal because I don't think he can spend very much time.
All I know is that
in the realm of chaos,
if you're a
but-
demon, you have to be fueled by the magics of the realm of chaos to exist in the mortal realm.
Yeah. But on the other hand, Sigvald, whenever he was recreated in the Age of Sigmar, or in the Mortal Realms, it was very much through the power of Slaanesh.
What it might be is the shit that keeps him alive is tied to chaos magic, so if he doesn't have a constant connection to the realm of chaos, he'll die. Not because he's a demon, but because it's just the shit that keeps him alive.
I honestly don't remember. It's been a while since I've looked at Sigvald's lore, but Sigvald's weird.
Anywho,
He's
moving
weird.
on. So, Origin of Sigmar. So, Sigmar could be easily called like a god of thunder, not just man, but like a god of thunder.
Yeah,
and
that's
battle
one of
and
his
whatnot.
nom de guerres.
Is he was actually called the child of thunder because he was born during a really bad thunderstorm.
Yeah,
And I think under the twin-tailed comet as well.
yeah.
And he was his mother had died at the hands of some greenskins.
Like in the middle of giving birth, right?
Yeah, like she died, Sigmar popped out.
Yeah.
And there was like a witch, there was like a hag witch or something that was
So,
like, he's
no,
a child of prophecy, child of
So
thunder.
the reason why they're in the middle of nowhere was because
Oh, yeah, we should probably explain why they were able to be attacked by orcs.
it was because his dad had such a few, like they had like, well, they cut open a rabbit, saw like prophecy.
Oh, real quick,
They're
his
like
father was a king.
Yeah,
That's important.
He was the prince.
King Bjorn. Bjorn.
His father was the king of a clan.
Of the Ernbogen, I think how you pronounce it, clan specifically.
Yeah. They cut open up a rabbit and they pretty much stated, yeah, your wife and your son's gonna die. So he went on this hunt to go find this witch or hag to be like, hey, how do I not make them die?
And that's actually really funny because the witch they were seeking, they're trying to find, was actually killed by the greenskins that killed the Bjorn's wife, and the hag that actually like witnessed Sigmar's birth was that witch's apprentice. But the main like leader witch bitch,
The master witch.
had gotten boiled alive in her own pot by orcs, and it was that same raiding party that had gotten and got Sigmar's mom.
Oof.
Big rip.
Big rip. I can imagine being boiled alive probably isn't fun.
Yeah.
That does, however, bring back the meme of like me in a witch's stew getting slapped by her spoon. Stop eating all the potatoes. But yeah, so that was how Sigmar was born. So he was kind of like blessed or cursed for greatness from the start.
Yeah. Depending on how you slice it.
Yeah, and so he was trained by a warrior to be a warrior and a king. All that hubbub. And his story kind of kicks off when basically he was sent to go deal with a group of orcs that were attacking a town. I think it was called Ashen Bridge or Ashone Bridge. Point being is that he had like 250 warriors. He would go stop a particular nasty greenskin warlord that had been causing issues for a while. And they roll up on it, and it's like, cool, there's like 2,000 orcs here, and like that's a fucking problem. And he had created this battle plan that had allowed him to kill the orcs, but it got one of his sword brothers named Trinavates, I think it's Trinavates, killed in the process. Trinavates is the brother of Garen. Garen is the guy who becomes Azazel. Oof. They were twins. So, but that was like him return. That was like the battle he had to go do to return to his father a man, because he
Basically prove yourself in combat.
He commanded warriors.
It's called gaining your shield.
Gaining your shield, yeah. And he was him commanding men, a large group of men, to go defend his land. And so he came back, and that's how he became a man. And that's what also set him on the path to set Garen on the path to become Azazel, and also set his love, which I think her name was Ravenna.
Wait, whose love?
Sigmar's.
Okay.
Who is also the sister of Trinavates and Garen, to death. And that was a big part. That was a very important part of his story. Because I don't think Sigmar ever took a wife or anything after her.
He did not.
Yeah.
He never bore kids after that.
So... Oh, and
Or not bored, sired. That's the right word.
Oh, and also I forgot to say, this little patch of lore I'm talking about stretches from Sigmar's birth up to the first Battle of Blackfire Pass, and that was the fight against a bunch of orcs that kind of made the Empire, or started the forging of it, and his alliance with dwarves. So a big thing that happens before the book really starts is Sigmar gaining Galmaraz, because he actually gets that hammer before the book even starts, and that's very important because it's the banhammer.
Yeah.
So Galmaraz was given to him by...
But it's not the Warhammer.
Harry the Hammer.
Harry!
That was gifted to him by King, I think it's Kurgan Ironbeard, who was the current High King of the Dwarves in good old Khazra-Karak. Or Khazra-Karak, yeah. And he had saved him from death and dishonor.
Who had saved who?
Sorry, Sigmar had saved King Kurgan Ironbeard from death and dishonor while he was traveling around through some mountains and doing some shenanigans. And Sigmar had saved his life. And how Sigmar was rewarded was the king gave him Galmaraz. And that was a really big fucking deal because Galmaraz was made from a chunk of the twin-tailed comet. And not only the material...
A twin-tailed comet, not the twin-tailed comet.
I thought there was only one.
take a
So
shot.
no, because Galmaraz is ancient during this period of time
keep in
to
mind-
dwarves.
Yeah, one thing to
Being
bear in mind.
15 years old is not ancient.
One quick thing to keep in mind whenever we talk about the scope
Well, no,
of
no,
the
no,
world
no.
that was.
I'm not saying it was made from the twin-tailed comet that Sigmar was born on. What I'm saying is I'm pretty sure there's only one twin-tailed comet,
Okay.
and it was made from a rock of that twin-tail. But that comet's been around since the beginning of time.
Okay, yeah.
Because the twin-tailed comet is seen as an omen of both good and bad, depending on like your race and whatnot.
It's seen as a time of change. But one important thing to note is that whenever we talk about the world that was, so the end times happen in around the year 2500. It's like 2550.
2526 is when end times commenced.
There you go. But Sigmar was technically born before that era, so he's like
negative 26.
No,
yeah.
it's negative 30.
Negative 30.
It's the imperial calendar, which starts the day of Sigmar's coronation.
Yeah, and he's crowned when he's 30.
Yeah.
So one thing to note, though, is that that's only by the imperial calendar. By this point in time, the dwarves, the elves, the Seraphon, they are already...
Lizard men.
Oh, yeah, that's right, lizardmen at this point. They are already
Put some respect
ancient
on that name.
races. The world that was is already old by the time that humans start to form the empire.
Fuck, I think the War of the Beard had already taken place. Give me a second. I need to look up when the War of the Beard took place.
Gotcha. But yeah, so whenever we say that Galmaraz is ancient, we don't mean like, oh yeah, it's like a couple hundred. No, it's already like thousands of years old.
Because dwarves live for like hundreds of years, right?
Yeah, they're not quite as long lived as elves. But...
No, dwarves live a fucking long time. Like,
Oh, are they?
5 or 6.
Oh, okay.
Dwarves can
So
be,
that's what you meant.
Dwarves can be ancient. Like, yeah, they're not immortal like elven immortality,
Yeah.
but dwarves can live.
So,
like
being-
something that is said in, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but something that's said in the book is like one of the dwarves in the story was like, it would take one of your human lives, it would take 2 or 3 of your human lifespans for a dwarven smith to even be considered competent.
Yeah. Although keep in mind, at that point in time, 50 years was probably about the extent of a human lifespan.
Yeah, but that's just to be a competent forge.
Yeah.
So that means that, like, very realistically, a dwarf. So that
Like
means that,
150 years, and it's like, yeah, okay, now you're considered competent.
and,
Now
like,
you're a journeyman.
and then to be like yeah. So I would say dwarves could they live a fucking while.
So to be ancient by dwarven standards,
yeah, we're talking thousands.
like
of years.
odds are this hammer could have been forged by Grungy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grungy, or possibly even it could, because another important thing to note is by the time of Sigmar.
Oh yeah. The War of the Beard took place in negative 2000 to negative 1600.
Yeah.
The War of the Beard had 100% taken place, and that was when the elves and the dwarves were at the peak of their power.
Yeah.
So this is technically already a dwarven. Technically, the Khazar Angkor, which is like the dwarven race, was already like kind of in decline because the War of the Beard is what really fucked the dwarves up, like in perpetuity,
Yeah.
and the elves as well.
Yeah. So, by the time of Sigmar, the runes and magic required to be able to forge Galmaraz have already been forgotten.
By
the time of Sigmar's
forgotten
birth.
by dwarves.
Yes.
Who keep books of grudge. Oh, Galmaraz stands for Skull Splitter.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what Sigmar does with it.
Oh,
Like the first 20 page of the story, Sigmar had already brained like 9 orcs, and it was like, I booped him with the Galmaraz, and he fucking exploded. So
Yeah, at one point he fights an exalted chaos champion.
boop.
And like he bonks him on the head, and this dude had like a super ornate helmet.
Fucking explodes.
And, like just like crumps the shit out of it. And this dude goes back to the Chaos Realm and is like, I need to fix my hat, and like he can't fucking fix it. So he just constantly wears a really fucked up helmet because he can't fix it.
Dwarven runes of fuck that shit.
Exactly.
But no, it's very important that these, like I said, these not only the material, but the magic and the techniques to make this hammer or hammers or weapons and armor like it were lost to dwarves who like put grudges in books and remember them for thousands of years.
Exactly.
So like that's a big fucking deal. But another big thing about it is I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I think Mitchell told me this as well, Galmaraz kind of chooses its own owner as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so all of this kind of accumulated to like the hammer had chosen Sigmar. He was obviously a man of honor and martial prowess. He had saved the king's life, and the king was just like, you know what, take the fucking hammer. And that's the hammer.
Yeah, that's the hammer.
By the Warhammer, like excluding Harry the Hammer, look it up. That is the Warhammer.
Yeah.
That both this and 40K get its name from, because fantasy came first.
Yeah, just a real quick thing
Because that
to
was
note.
back when 40K was either the
Rogue
future
Trader.
of fantasy. That was when Rogue Trader was either the future of fantasy, or it was the whole like the entirety of 40K is inside a snow globe on a wizard's desk in fantasy.
Yeah, something like that. It was really weird. That was real old school lore. But no, so just a real quick note. When we talk about Harry the Hammer, the reason the game is called Warhammer...
just let him look it up.
Yeah, but it's so
Okay,
fun.
fine,
It's
fine.
so fun.
Fucking do it,
The
fine.
reason Warhammer is called Warhammer is because there was a character in like the early days
Harald
of fantasy.
Hammerstorm.
Yeah, who was called Harald Hammerstorm, and he wielded a hammer. And that is the actual hammer from which Warhammer derives its name. It's from Harry the Hammer.
I think that was.
It's not from Gollum
I think that was even before they'd really decided if like chaos was a thing, or it was just Harry the Hammer was just Harry the Hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, that was from like the earliest days of Warhammer Fantasy. That was back when it was still like fantasy battles. But yeah, fun little note.
So he got Galmaraz. They don't talk about it in the book, but it is a very important thing that he got the hammer.
Yes, because this
and
also
a
sets
great
up
honor.
That this also sets up for his relationship with the dwarves.
Yeah, and that also led to like basically a permanent relationship between man and dwarf to a certain extent, because like shit does happen and that camaraderie and that kinship does die down a lot, but to a certain extent dwarves and men are always at least peaceable to one another.
Yeah, it's the actions that Sigmar does in his time is the reason why dwarves are still so amenable to humans by the time of Karl Franz. Like, he lays the groundwork for their relationship.
Yeah. And the reason why the dwarves are very much kind of like, these dwarves are very much willing to help the humans.
It's why dwarves tell everyone else to go fuck themselves, but then they look at humans and they're like, okay, we're at least willing to hear you out.
It's I believe it was because I'm going to forget how to word all of this.
I believe in you.
But the dwarves are pissed at other dwarves for hiding in holes, and that was not going to fix the world. So these dwarves chose to like teach the humans how to actually build stone.
That was a big thing for Ulrich. They called him Ulrich the Mad. He was the dwarf that stayed with the Urnbrogen tribe.
Yes,
and
it's one dwarf in particular.
His name is Ulrich. I think I pronounce it. And basically, whenever he was questioned as to why you're here, he's like, basically because this world is fucked and the elves have fucked off to their island, and we don't really like each other because of War of the Beard and shit. And like the dwarves, to a certain extent, want to just close their doors and hide in their hold and let the storm pass, but the storm's never gonna pass, and we need allies. And humans have at least proved themselves to not be like evil
shitheads,
and like they're not going to get anywhere fighting the darkness of the world with fucking sticks, so like they need help. So basically Ulrich's whole thing is like the only thing evil needs to flourish is when good men do nothing. Is basically his reasoning.
Yes. One important thing to note is by the time of Karl Franz, Ulrich is actually worshipped as one of the ancestor gods.
I swear to God, if we get actually like, there's no accurate. We didn't fucking look up Dwarven lore, but I think Ulrich is an ancestor god.
Yeah, because I remember him being mentioned a lot.
If he's not an ancestor god, he is definitely a venerated ancestor.
Yeah. Because he is also a master runesmith.
He's also the one that the magical swords that were held by all the Elector counts. They were also made by Ulrich, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So
he's also the one he kind of helped in the creation of the Alt Dwarf Corps of Engineers.
That. Yeah, we will get to that, but let's move forward with the lore.
So so that'll happen before the book starts, and then he does the thing with orcs, loses his friend, and Garen is the twin brother, and he fucking hates Sigmar because he thinks Sigmar killed his brother essentially because he's angsty,
a shithead.
Yeah, and so like he's so cute. Sorry, I'm looking at the cat, and he's adorable. He looks.
Mitchell's playing with Hephaestus.
He looks so unamused for a second. He's just like, kill me.
He's biting my thumb.
I know. So time moves forward, and the next big problem is there's this like massive Norsey invasion coming down.
At this point in time, the Norskins are called Norsey, which that's the distinction, so nobody's confused.
Like the Bretonnians are called the Bretonni.
Yeah.
Altdorf is called Reichdorf,
which I think is really cool that they actually change the names over time.
Well, yeah,
because like 2,000 years go by,
like the Reichsmarshal for the Empire, which is like one of the, like the Emperor's like greatest champion. Back during this book is called the Marshal of the Reich.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I actually really enjoyed that. But yeah, so there's like this massive Norsey invasion coming down, and King Bjorn, Sigmar's father, fucks off to go help fight it because like that's a big massive problem. It leaves Sigmar to like protect his lands, and that's when Garen strikes. And like,
do you want to go over what actually happens with whenever Bjorn leaves and everybody's like, well, hold up, why are we doing this? Because that kind of sets the mindset for how the Empire gets formed.
Sorry, I skipped around. I think that I forgot to mention is so Sigmar had always had the dream of making an empire from the very beginning. His whole thing was
I think what really set that path for him was his Dooming Day, where he actually was pretty much trapped into his like grandfather's tomb, like his ancestors' tombs, and he kind of like got trapped by a boulder, and he moved that. There was like moving a boulder. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but he got outside. It was really tall, and he saw all these tiny little villages and like the darkness that was surrounding it, and he just went, "This is mine to protect."
Yeah. When did that happen?
On his Dooming Day.
On his Dooming Day.
I haven't read about that quite yet. I actually haven't quite finished the book yet. But
here, I'll find when the Dooming Day happened.
So while Mitchell's looking that up, is point being is Sigmar had dreamed of uniting man against the evils of the world into one unified empire for a long time. And his whole thing is like, every action that I take has to be one for the betterment of mankind, not just for my tribe. Because all the tribes are content to sit in their little bubble of power and not do anything, and like eventually we're all gonna die. Yeah. Like
this happened before he got Galmaraz.
Okay, yeah, so that was
Oh, okay, so this is more like backstory stuff.
Yeah, so he was younger than 15. So yeah, and he was like, men apes together strong is basically what it was. It's because like there's so much evil in this world, and we're busy fighting amongst ourselves, and the greenskins don't fucking care if we're squabbling with each other when they attack. The beasts of the forest and the demons and the cruel gods of the north, our enemies don't care if we're allied or enemies. They're gonna come and fuck us up all the same. So we need to be united, and that's how we'll stay strong, and we'll protect ourselves and expand our lands and be prosperous. He'd had that vision for a really long time. So the Norsey come down. Sigmar is 21, I think, when it happens, and basically his father gets approached by two messengers of the king and like, listen, like 6,000 screaming Norsey are here. It's a fucking problem. They're gonna kill us. We have this army. We need you to come help us out. And sorry, I had to pop back. If you help us out, we'll give you a sword oath, which is basically like a sword oath is like, you've helped me. Whenever you need help, I'll be there, regardless of how much pain it will cause me.
Yeah, it's basically a defensive alliance, but it means more.
A defensive alliance that's not political; it's honor bound.
Yeah,
but also it's how you go forward to like setting relations with other tribes.
Yeah.
So his father's like, yeah, we're gonna help them out, and not only for sword oaths, but because like if the Norsey kill everyone, we're next. So it just makes sense to join the larger force and fight them off. And he leaves Sigmar to rule over his lands while he's gone, and that's really important because it's kind of like, to a certain extent, Sigmar and his father are kind of the same mind, and B, it shows like Sigmar is slowly coming into his own as being a ruler because like his father has enough trust in him to like leave him with all of his shit.
Yeah,
you're guarding my shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is also your shit. Don't fucking lose it.
It will be your shit eventually, yeah. So Sigmar starts taking care of the kingdom while his father's away, and that's actually when Garen strikes, because basically Garen had gone to the same a hag and been like, I fucking hate Sigmar, how can I kill him? And she was like, cool, when these certain conditions are met, you'll know it's time. And then lo and behold, the certain conditions are met. And Garen's like, And the really cool thing is that same hag had gone to his father 6 years prior. And this is actually before Garen had come to her, and she was like, there's going to be a time in the near future where your son's going to die. Or your son might die, and whether or not he does will be up to you. Your son is an extremely important figure who will shape destiny, but in order for him to live, you have to do something. And basically the king, his father's like, what do I have to do? And she's like, you'll know when I tell you. You'll have to make an oath to me. Mm-hmm. And that is how it'll happen. So like, she set up Sigmar as protector before she set the assassin to go after Sigmar. And so
that's kind of fucked.
Also, why is so like Garen?
On the other hand, like this is very much like destiny is all weaving together.
It actually makes sense. I actually really like how they wrote this. So the conditions are met, and Garen's like, fuck, it's time to kill Sigmar. But he's also really conflicted because Garen had spent 6 years being one of Sigmar's closest friends and protectors, because the hag had kind of told him to. But also, like, he realized that, like, he actually likes Sigmar. He's a good person. He's a strong warrior. He's a just leader, and he's just a cool guy. The hatred he had in his heart is going away, and that kind of sends him into a spiral. And that's when you really start to see that, like, his hatred for Sigmar is not really his anymore. It's something being twisted by the Chaos Gods.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole thing where he's like crying in Riverbank. He's like, I don't want to do this. And then he like looks into the fucking Chaos Moon and sees like an evil face smiling back. It's like twisting his heart. And he's like, fuck it. If this is my fate, I'm just going to embrace it. So.
Hey kids, remember how we were talking about, you know, the only way evil wins is when good men stand by and do nothing? You know, maybe if he had chosen to fucking do something. But anyway, moving on.
So basically the hag comes to Sigmar's father in a dream, and she's like, hey, your son's gonna die tomorrow. And he's like, oh, what? And the dad's like freaking the fuck out, and he's like, I'm too close to help him. How can I help him? And the hag's like, no, I'm here to make my oath. And he's like, but you're there, why can't you save him? And she's like, because I'm the one who sent the guy after him. And the king's like, why the fuck would you do this? And she says, it's because great leaders and men of destiny are created by what they experience. And in order for Sigmar to become the man he has to be, he has to experience greater loss than anyone that had come before him. And so basically this hag was like, I did this because it's the only way that Sigmar can become what he needs to be. Yeah, so to a certain extent,
betrayal by his best friend.
This was like these books came up before End Times were a thing and whatnot, but realistically, Sigmar being like the God King of Men in AOS was all set in motion by some one old ass hag up in the fucking mountains living in a swamp.
I'm okay with this.
The butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect. But that's why she did it.
I would like to rename that to Lord of Change Effect.
The hag effect.
Huh? All according to plan.
Okay.
But so yeah, and so basically the hag's like, hey, you have your oath to me has to be the chaos leader. You have to go fight him. Not kill him, you have to fight him. And he's like, I'm gonna kill that bitch. And she's like, I'm sure you will.
Yeah. It's like, well, you're gonna try.
But that's what your oath is. You have to go fight him.
Yeah.
And so how Garen comes after Sigmar is basically he's swimming in a river with not his wife, but basically he's like, I'm gonna marry. It was Ravenna, Garen and Garen's sister. He's like, when I'm king, I'll marry you. So they weren't married, but they basically were.
They were betrothed.
They were swimming naked in a river.
They was fucking.
They weren't, but they had the morning prior.
Yeah, dude, no. Okay, there's a really
There was a sex scene in the book. It wasn't graphic, but there was a sex scene in the book, and watching Sigmar lay pipe freaked me the fuck out.
Dude, no. Okay, no, so he reads this section, right? And he's like, what the fuck? And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he turns, and Jacob turns and looks at me, and he's like, dude, Sigmar's laying pipe. And I'm like, well, yeah, like, how old is he? And he's like, oh, well, I think he's 18 at the time. And I'm like, okay, he's fucking 18. Like, how did you not see this coming? He's fucking 18. He's a prince. Of course he's laying pipe. And then he comes back to me 5 minutes later. And he's like, I was wrong. He was 15. And, like, he also talks about the fact that he's already been experienced with women for several years now. And we're like, what?
Well, it's not just that. It just kind of... It's just weird for me to read about Sigmar doing human things while being a human, because, like, the majority of my experience with Sigmar is him being a god who fights other gods and does dumb god shit. It's like,
like reading about the Emperor of Man having biological children, and it's like,
it's like reading about the Emperor of Mankind making a sandwich. It's like, what the fuck? You don't do human things. Stop it. Go fight Jesus or something. Stop eating popcorn in front of me. It's making me uncomfortable. You being humanized is weird for me.
No, now I just have an image of a custody standing next to the Emperor while the Emperor's just sitting there, like, watching a movie from the early 2000s, eating popcorn, and this fucking custody is standing there just going, I have no idea what's going on.
There's like 4 custodians behind him. He just, like, sucking up the remnants of a Coca-Cola. They're just like, what the fuck is this? But it's humanizing the characters was really weird for me. Yeah. Just because, like, you've only seen him as this, like, all-powerful fucking god that dukes it out with the Chaos Gods and shit, and fights Gorka Morka in a fucking canyon for 3 straight days and terraforms the earth.
Correction. Fights him on a plane and leaves out of the canyon.
Yeah, so seeing him humanized was just weird. So, yeah, I'm reading... Once again, it was a really tame sex scene, but it was a sex scene. But, like, I'm just watching the sex scene, I'm just like, oh, man, this makes me super uncomfy. So, back to my point. They're swimming in a river, and Garen comes out, and he's like, what are you doing? And Garen's like, you killed my brother, you motherfucker, so now you die. And because Garen's a massive bitch, he had coated his sword in poison. And even that being said, Garen was a master swordsman. He would be what the Ropesman clan, like the Kislevites, would call a blade master. Like, while Sigmar's walking around with big-ass hammer, Garen is dummy thick with blades. Garen, in my opinion, is...
You want another one?
Yes, please. Garen, in my opinion, is kind of equivalent to Lucius the Eternal in 40k.
Excuse me.
As just being... Sorry, we were with birth. No, but Garen, in my opinion, or as I guess I'll call him Azazel, whatever. Azazel, in my opinion, at least while a human, was akin to, in my opinion, Lucius the Eternal, because they were both very egotistical and very
vain,
beautiful.
Yeah,
but they're also sword masters and they're very martially proficient. So I kind of see the parallels there.
Yeah. That's kind of an appropriate comparison too.
But yeah, because they both follow Slanesh.
Yeah.
But so Sigmar's like naked and like Ravina. I think it's Ravina or Ravana. If I'm fucking up the name, just don't at me. Is like swimming up back to the bank and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "You killed my brother. I'm gonna kill you now." And Sigmar's like, "Well, I know." Sigmar's like, "I know I'm gonna die because I'm naked."
With no weapon.
With no weapon.
Yeah, and you're standing here like
fully armored with a fucking with a blade that he does not know is covered in poison,
but also knows that that's a blade master.
But he's like, mine is the blood of kings, and I will not bow to this.
Yeah.
So he starts like talking shit to fucking Garen. There, he's like, "You kill my brother, I'm gonna fucking kill you." And Sigmar's like, "If you were fucking half the man your brother was, you would have dueled me fucking years ago, not while I'm naked, you little bitch." And like, they start duking it out, and he cuts Sigmar. Sigmar starts freaking the fuck out because he's poisoned now and realizes that he's slathered his blood in fucking hemlock or something. And like, oh, look, I'm gonna die. But then... Thank you, Mitchell. But then Ravina throws herself between Garen and Sigmar. And Garen... And realistically, at this point, Garen wasn't really Garen. He was more or less being controlled by the Chaos Gods, in my opinion.
At this point, he was basically Azazel.
Because he was like, "Fuck you!" He was talking to his sister. He's like, "Fuck you! You whore yourself to the man who killed our brother. All you want to do is spread your legs for him, and he killed Trinavates. And how fucking dare you?" So she throws herself.
Dude, just open the beer normally.
No, I keep seeing this online, and I want to try it, but these tops don't want to cooperate.
Jesus Christ. So she throws herself between Garen and Sigmar, and Garen fucking shoves his sword through her gut.
Just straight murks her.
Straight murks her. Oh, yeah. Like, dead as fuck. And Sigmar basically...
Remember, this is his sister.
Yeah. And what's funny is that there's been a couple times prior in the book where Sigmar has felt like the red mist of, like, Berserker. Like that anger kind of, like, flood his body. But he's always been like, I'm not a Berserker. I'm an Urnbrogan, so I'm going to, like, focus my rage and, like, fight. Like
keep in mind, these people are only, like, 2 steps away from barbarians.
Well, there also are some southern tribes that do Berserker shit, but they don't, like, eat people like the Norsi do.
Yeah.
But like basically, Ravina gets stabbed, and he's like, "Cool, fucking, I would like to rage, please," and goes into a blood rage.
It's the barbarian's turn. What would you like to do?
Well, also Ravina also like rips the sword from Garen because it's in her.
Yeah,
and he's the defenseless. So Sigmar pounces on him and starts like choking him to death. Even though he's like has poison in him and it's causing his muscles to contort and like spasm, he's like, "Fuck you, adrenaline's a hell of a drug and I am fueled by nothing but pure hate," and starts choking Garen to death. But he sees in Garen's eyes that the man that Garen was is basically fighting against what I would call the corrupting powers of chaos, and losing. Yeah. And while he's choking Garen to death, he literally sees what was Garen just fall into the pits of chaos, essentially.
Yeah.
And fully get taken over by Azazel, and like his fucking smiles a real devilish grin and like throws Sigmar off him, and he's like, "Fuck you, bitch, you're gonna die now," and fucks off. And to a certain extent, I almost see parallels between that and Horus. Because, to a certain extent, like, Horus wasn't fully bad. He was just so corrupted by the Chaos Gods that he couldn't see what he had become until he was dying.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing, like, the man that Garen was finally fled when Sigmar was going to kill him.
Yeah.
And
because, like, he finally realizes what he's done. Like, he's just killed his sister.
I don't think he realized it. I just think that it was more like a quinky-dink. Like, that was just when Garen finally was like, "I can't fight this anymore." Yeah. But because he showed zero remorse when he killed Ravina. Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Do you want one?
If I was going to drink a beer, I would have needed to do it earlier when I ate something. I was like at heartburn.
Okay.
But thank you for offering.
Spoiler alert: we're drinking beer.
So Garen
Sapporo.
fucks off, and Sigmar's body gets dumped in the fucking river, and is not great. He gets fished out by a fisherman and goes on and whatnot. But yeah,
So I'm guessing he survives the poison.
Well, yeah, I would certainly fucking hope so. Considering, there's a whole ass game based off of him. Haha. All right, it has his name.
So it's really important from this period of time because by this time when this was happening, Sigmar's dad was actually dead.
Not quite yet, but it's about to happen.
Oh, yeah, because he's fighting that Chaos Champion.
No, I believe that he died first.
Or not Chaos
because
Champion,
because
right. I haven't gotten that far in the book, but yes, it's heavily. I haven't read the book, but just from foreshadowing, it's very heavily implied that his father had to die to that Chaos Warrior for Sigmar to live for some reason.
It's because when Sigmar was going down the river, he kind of entered a gray world, and he found his dad there. And they had to fight off what were, I believe, Chaos Warriors or something like that, Norsey people,
Barbarians.
Yeah. And you had to, and all the dead people that were from his tribe as well, that were the warriors. They're fighting off. I don't know what it was meant to be, but
it sounds like they were on Moore's doorstep, the border between life and death, and he needed his father there to help him fight to live.
Quick clarification: Moore is the human god of death.
Yeah, because he was essentially killed. Sigmar was essentially killed by a chaos follower, so maybe he needed his father there to help him fight back from death.
Yeah. So his dad died, and then he came back after all of that. So, he defeated everything with his dad and his followers that all died in the battle against the Norsey. Then he woke up.
This is Legion of the Damned territory here.
It's just
the Legion of the Damned.
It's really sad. And what really sucks, something that's really cool. I really like how they wrote Sigmar in this, because Sigmar doesn't suffer from hero complex. And what I call hero complex is this is the best example that I got. There's a point in the story where he's seeing some kids who are training on the training field to be warriors, and one kid gets cut in his forearm really bad, through the muscle, a really bad cut, and he goes to help the kid out, and he's like, what the fuck, y'all are training with sharpened blades, what the fuck are y'all doing? And the training master, I forget his name, but he was also
besides the point,
he was also well, no, it's not about the point, because he wasn't some random training dude. He was his father's champion. Very important.
Oh, so he was the marshal of...
He was the marshal of the Reich, yes.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I never trained with blades. And Garen was there, and this is before Garen did his head-ass shit. And Garen was like, well, I was the one who said we should trade with real blades so that the kids can learn the value of pain. And
pain is one of the best teachers.
Well, yeah,
if it hurts, don't do it again.
What the Marshal of the Reich said is they're going to fuck up, it's going to hurt, and they're not going to fuck up again. And most complex heroes would be like, oh no, you're hurting children, don't do that. And to a certain extent, in a modernized, civilized society, I get that. But Sigmar was like, no, I'm not gonna berate y'all. I just wanted to know why you are doing it, and it makes sense. The training
is very much a society.
The training needs to be harsh because this world we live in is fucked.
Yeah, this is very much a society where you hit 15 years of age and you're a fucking adult. You're expected to go off to war.
Even before that, Sigmar had been in battles before.
Yeah.
Not as big as the one he had when he was 15, but really it's he was 12, 13 years old. He was killing orcs.
Yeah. No, so this world is harsh.
So it's he's a good person, but it's tempered by logic. Yeah. Which logic...
It's tempered by his circumstances.
Yes. And it was just good to see him written that way, because it just makes sense, and I think it was a good way to write. It could have been really easy to have Sigmar just fall into I am the hero and no bad things are gonna happen and I'm gonna save everybody and woo, and it's that ain't Warhammer.
Yeah, that's not how this
that
works.
Ain't the world you live in. So while it sucks, it's necessary, and I like that the writing reflects that. And another thing that he does is that because Sigmar's whole thing is I want to build an empire, every time he comes upon a problem, he thinks about a way to solve it as if he was already leading an empire. There's one point where he walks up on Uberschreik, which is a town, and everyone's fucking dead. And they're like, man, this might not have gone down this way if the farmers could have protected themselves. And they're like, well, we made sure every warrior has a sword. And Sigmar's like, no, every man needs to have a sword. And we need to make sure they have the skill to use that sword at least a little bit.
Yeah, at least so they can defend
And they're
themselves.
like, but that's impossible. And he's like, I'm going to fucking make it possible. And when my father returns from war and I don't have to do all this, leading the world, leading my tribe shit, I'm going to find a way to make that system real.
Yep.
Because how can an empire exist if it can't defend itself?
Yep.
And that's a way of thinking how to fix the problem at an imperial scale, not just my tribe.
Yeah.
And every problem he's come across, because there's multiple examples I could give. That's just the most recent one, where he thinks about solving problems at an imperial level, not just a tribe leader level.
Yeah.
Like the one time he had all the smiths come so that the dwarf there could teach them all how to forge iron, so they're not just using bronze.
Yep.
Agua. Sorry, I was drinking some water. So that was a really important thing because that's kind of how Azazel formed. Because I think you see Azazel again in the second or third book.
You see him again at the start of the third.
Gotcha.
I know that.
Sorry.
You're all good.
And so, father dies.
Jacob's trying to play footsies with me.
Well, Mitchell's not responding.
My foot's way over here.
I know. It's disgusting.
Jacob. Let's get him. Sorry about that.
But so the next big fight is the fight of Blackfire Pass, and that's really a big one because that's like the forging of the Empire. Because basically there's a massive orc wog coming down the Blackfire Pass, and it was the first big cooperation between
Where
men
is
and
Black? Or actually, no, that doesn't really matter.
well, no, I mean Blackfire Pass. It is literally. It is the only way into the Empire from the south without either going through Bretonia or crossing the mountains. Every other
is that the pass that?
Okay, if you're playing Total War, you know where Balthazar Gelt starts.
Yeah,
and you know Averheim, the sigil. It's the black sigil with the sun.
Yeah,
and you know that fucking the sigil, that pass right here, all those jagged rocks and shit.
Yeah,
that's
the fort. It's the fort that.
No, there's no fort on Blackfire Pass. Balthazar Gelt's fort is to the left of it. But that big ass pass to the right, that's Blackfire Pass.
Yep.
It's the only unguarded way into the Empire from the south.
Gotcha.
Because
Okay. Before Blackfire Pass, he got the remaining of what was the who were Sword Oath,
his Sword Brothers.
Mm-hmm. And then he went to go massacre all the Norsey. That's when all the Norsey were absolutely murdered.
No.
Man,
that
woman,
comes after,
child.
That comes after Blackfire.
No. Well, I know there's two.
So,
I know
or does he do it twice?
Well, no, twice because I know he murders the Norsey and pushes them back, and then they come back, and then he has to go murder them again. I think once again, if I'm wrong, don't at me.
So, the Battle of Blackfire Pass is when he actually got majority of the Empire actually kind of together.
Yeah, that was when the Empire was founded technically, because that was when all of the tribes of the South were like, "He's our emperor. He's the man who will make the Empire."
Yeah,
and that was when the dwarves are like, "We homies for life."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he does it twice. Okay, yeah. No,
okay. So
the fact that he has to do it twice.
It's the fucking Chaos God. You can't beat them. They never go away.
It's just the fact that he has to genocide the Norsey twice, and they still don't fucking die.
Here's my thing. How the fuck do they breed that fast?
I don't. That's
how the fuck do they make that many people that quickly?
Slanesh.
Oh. Fucking apparently. Just seems like, oh no,
God.
We've been genocided. Well, bring in the reserves. And it's just like everyone has Jesus' fucking respawn timer. And 3 days later, they fucking replenish everyone who died. And it's just like, how the fuck does this keep happening? I just cleaned up this mess. Why can't it fucking stay clean?
No, to give you an idea, so whenever we're talking about them cleaning out the Norsey, that happens in the third book again. And so I was like, no, you're talking about the third book already. Like, we're skipping a whole book here. And then like, sure as shit, Mitchell pulls up his notes, and he's like, no, it happens here too. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
The Norsey fuck like rabbits, apparently.
I fucking guess. Well, to be fair, they are cannibals. So, like, you breed a bunch of kids, you can't feed them all. Like, kill a couple, now you get some more.
If you cook babies, paprika is the best. It is the
babies
best.
Are the most tender.
The babies are the most tender, and paprika is the best spice. And I learned that from my teacher in high school. That's not me being fucked up,
dude. No, that's no. But the whole babies are the most tender. That's a line from Snowpiercer, which is one of my favorite dystopian movies.
The show, or the movie.
The fucking movie.
I heard the show was kind of ass.
That wouldn't surprise me. I haven't seen it, but I haven't seen it because Snowpiercer, the movie with Chris Evans, was so good.
It was fucking weird though.
Oh no, it was weird as shit, but it was so good.
Baby's the most tender. That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back on a tangent.
We're talking about Snowpiercer.
Oh, okay.
With Chris Evans.
I never watched it.
Yeah, what was that one scene when Chris Evans was like, "Yeah, that one guy only has one leg because I ate it."
Oh yeah, no.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Snowpiercer, shit, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Well, there's a show too. I just haven't watched the show. I've heard it's out there.
Yeah, that's about all I've heard about it. But no, the Chris Evans movie was so good. Ironically enough,
Dude,
it's
that
because
cockroach scene fucked me up.
Oh, dude, fuck that. But no, ironically enough, the scene at the very end of the first Avengers movie, when they're in the shawarma house and Chris Evans is sitting there with his hand.
Because he has a Snowpiercer beard. He had a Snowpiercer beard,
Yeah.
but he didn't want to shave it, so he had to just have it block his face, and he couldn't eat.
Yeah, no, they put a they got a close approximation prosthetic, put it on his face, but then it wouldn't hold in place because of his beard. So he has to hold it there with his hand.
But that also kind of makes sense because everyone's so fucking tired that Chris Evans just looks like he's taking a nap.
Yeah,
he just needs a little nap poo. It's fine. But yeah, Norse get genocided, and then we have Blackfire Pass, and that's a bit because that was the first. If I remember correctly, I think that was the first cooperation in a battle between men and dwarves.
Yeah.
And it cemented Sigmar as the emperor, basically, and it was it was essentially the founding of the empire.
Well, when you see a man jump off a cliff into a pile of orcs
and not die and kill all of them,
and proceed to see him kill hundreds. Well, I believe it was just 100. You kind of go,
that's still a fucking lot.
Yeah, for one man with a hammer.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Me thinking about my Total War days when one kid would get 3,000 kills.
That's a lot, right? you kind of sit there and go, huh? I may feel inspired to charge.
It's like, I think I'll kill one orc. Looking at Sigmar screaming, murdering orcs left and right. Maybe I'll kill two.
The 12-year-old boy holding a spear that's way too big for him, shitting his pants, looks over at Sigmar. I can fight God today.
Blackfire Pass. Sigmar was ready to fight God or become him.
Well, he definitely ended up becoming him.
Both, actually, because he fought Nagash before he became a god, so I would say he did both, actually.
Well, just not at Blackfire.
Listen, Sigmar is a dirty fucking overachiever.
Yeah.
So they win the Battle of Blackfire Pass, and basically the Orc Wog was like, if we don't stop it here, we're all gonna fucking die. It was massive. And so that solidified him as emperor, the empire, his friendship with the dwarves, and that was when Alric was like, by the way, I'm a runesmith, I'm gonna make you magic swords. And that's kind of what the first book's about. And it's just really good book. I really enjoyed it. Really good. I just really enjoy. I think the author's name is Graham McNeil.
Yeah, I think Graham McNeil writes this entire trilogy. My god, he's such a good writer.
I've never read his shit before, so I don't know if he's like. So I can't say he's amazing in author because I haven't read his other shit. But just from how he's writing this book so far, I've really enjoyed how he's doing it.
If I remember correctly, he also wrote book 9 of the Horus Heresy, Mechanicum. And Mechanicum is one of my favorite books in the Horus Heresy.
Was that the book where we had the death of Titans?
No, that's not Titan Death.
Not Titan Death?
No, Titan Death is its own book. No, that's the book about the schism.
And the Mechanicus split.
The night of the night of shit.
I want to say it's called 1,000 Tears, but I know I'm wrong.
No, that's something else. The night. Fuck. All I can think of now is the Night of Broken Glass, and that's not right either.
That book is porn, Philip.
No, bro. The Night of Broken Glass is whenever the Nazis burned all the Jewish synagogues.
The book you're reading is called like a Throne of Broken Glass, right?
No, it's a Court of Silver Fire.
Oh, okay. I thought the book called A Throne of Broken Glass, and I'm like, stop bringing up your porn book, Philip.
Do we want to explain what Heldenhammer actually means?
Oh yeah, we could
go for
it. So.
Listen, he's not talking a lot, but he has to talk a little.
I do have to talk a little, or I'm just going to be coughing up a lung.
Yeah. No, please continue.
So I would say that's probably where Sigmar really got his name, Heldenhammer. They say Sigmar Heldenhammer.
Yeah, from holding a hammer.
Yeah,
hammer.
Yeah. It said that he was reborn as Heldenhammer on his dooming day.
I feel like that's a euphemism for a penis.
But
holding my hammer.
Harry
the hammer.
But I believe
that'd be holding the spear.
I believe in German, Heldenhammer means like hammer of war, or the war hammer.
Warhammer! Oh my god!
But
they said the thing. Roll credits.
In fantasy, Heldenhammer actually means hammer of goblins.
Fuck greenskins.
Hammer of the goblins, yes.
Fuck greenskins.
So, that's kind of probably where he really cemented his name as Heldenhammer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know, you got the precious kitty.
You got the Hephaestus.
I have the vibe.
Excellent. So where do we go from here?
Really, it's really the start of his reign. Really, I think the most notable part about his reign before he actually gets into like fighting Nagash and whatnot is he gets the crown. What's that crown called?
The crown of sorcerers.
Yeah, the crown of sorcerers.
That'll be important.
And he actually
Nagash will remember that.
He actually starts to go mad because of it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Or that's what I read in part of my research.
Sigmar sentenced like one of his best friends to death to like the marshes, to like, you're just gonna go die out there. Then he was like, nah, I'm gonna fight you now instead.
Sigmar, eat a Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry.
Like during this fight, he actually truly saw himself going mad. Like from an outside perspective, and he just like, it took all of his effort just to rip the crown off.
Oh, so he was wearing it.
Yes, he was.
No. For a while, Sigmar wears the crown of sorcerers,
and it's what made him go mad.
Yeah, we don't figure out till later what the crown of sorcerers is, but yes, it is a crown that grants you immense magical power.
Yeah,
but also drives you fucking insane.
Oh, so it's just a sort of candle for your head.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Except instead of like Kane bullshit rage magic, it's death magic, and that will be important later.
It does give you a power boost, though.
Yeah,
very much.
I forget why he wore the crown.
Because it's a very potent magical crown.
Oh, so it wasn't it was just like make me stronger, and I have to protect my empire.
Think so,
yeah.
Yes.
Also, it's a crown. You're a king. Why would you not wear it?
Exactly.
It was made by Nagash, right?
He probably didn't know that.
We were going to talk about that later, but yes.
I didn't know. I'm sorry, I was asking. Okay, does it make Nagash go mad, or is it just it's so magically potent that like unless you're Nagash,
it's Nagash's crown imbued with his magic.
So basically, unless you're capable of actually
unless you're Nagash.
Okay, so it's not like a power thing. It's straight up, no. If you're not Nagash, you're gonna go insane.
Yeah, because this is the last piece of Nagash's power that is still wandering around the mortal realm.
I find it fucking hilarious because like the 3, 4, or maybe 5 times that Nagash gets rezzed before end times, basically the entire thing is I'm gonna go get all my shit, and then he dies in the process of getting all of his shit, and it's almost always the crown.
Yeah, well that's the whole thing.
I think there was one time where he just got murked almost immediately by someone who was like waiting for him, like it was fucking Jeepers Creepers 2, and he was sitting there with a fucking shotgun waiting for Nagash to wake up on the wall.
About that.
With the farmers like sitting there with the shotgun. I think at one time he woke up and someone was like, no! And he just got fucking annihilated. But every other time he's like, I got my shit, gonna go get my crown. Spoiler, he never gets the crown.
Yeah, it never does.
Yeah. So, do we want to go
Could you
ahead
imagine waking up the 4th time, having failed to get your crown 4 fucking times, waking up just like mad as fuck, just like, I'm awake. Fuck! That's just the whole thing. What's wrong? I have to get my fucking crown again!
But yeah. So, oh no, doesn't don't the Norse invade again?
Oh yeah.
Wait, fuck. Does
Yeah,
he get his
again.
crown at end times?
Probably.
That's probably why he murders everybody.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. It's the Norse. They come. It's Cormac this time.
Oh, that's an important one. I think Cormac, that rings a bell. I think he's a pretty powerful war leader, isn't he?
Cormac.
I think so.
No, is he? No, he's not never chosen, is he?
No, because more.
I could have sworn there was one of the Evertons
Morcar's
called
the first.
I could have sworn there was an Everton called Cormac.
Maybe one of his descendants.
Maybe, I don't know. I might just be tripping.
I can quickly look up who Cormac was, because Cormac Bloodaxe.
Wait, no, that does sound familiar.
Real fast, do you know who murders Harry the Hammer in End Times?
Who?
It's 100% Vlad. Vlad fucking annihilates him.
God, that's so funny.
Well, because he hates the undead. That's his whole shtick. Is he fucking hates the undead.
No, that's so funny because in Total War he has all those massive buffs against undead, and then it's fucking Vlad that kills him in End Times. That's amazing. What happens to his hammer though? What happens to the Warhammer?
I mean, the world that was is gone, Philip. I think you know the answer to that question.
Calvin Ross made it. Why can't the Warhammer?
Because Harry isn't as important as Sigmar. I'm sorry.
No, Cormac
fuck off.
apparently turned into a bloodthirster.
That might, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's. Wait, he turns into a bloodthirster?
Dude, the Chaos Gods do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
I guess they do in fantasy, yeah.
If you were a normal ass dude and Corm was like, have a piece of my soul, you're gonna die, turn to a Chaos Spawn, or turn to a fucking Bloodthirster. Those are your options.
Well, no, it's just surprising because, like, in 40k, it's like, oh, here's a piece of my soul. Your 2 routes are either turn into a Demon Prince or turn into Chaos Spawn. It's never like, hey, do you want to be a Bloodthirster? Because, like, I'd be okay with being a Bloodthirster.
Well, I mean,
Just constant rage.
Realistic.
Well, yeah, but like then I don't have to think about shit.
Realistically,
I see meatbag, I stab meatbag. It's that simple.
It's like
if you're a demon prince though, like you actually got to think about
all I'm
shit.
saying is
it's like the quote. Yes, we seem to be surrounded. Well, that simplifies things.
realistically, if Philip was to be a bloodthirster, he would just be weaponized ADHD.
Dude, no, I could never make it as a bloodthirster. I'm too horny for that shit. Oh my god.
Okay, remember the email, via fuck whatever email.
Have y'all not
take a shot? Take a shot right there. Take a shot.
Have y'all not caught it? I've been saying that this entire time.
No, I haven't. That one was rough.
Yeah.
I've been quiet with my vape hits though, so you're about 9 shots behind.
Well, no, but shut up.
He might die.
That's not my problem.
Who's gonna take care of the cat?
Dude, that cat looked gruff as fuck. That cat can take care of itself. Thank you for the emo. We love you. Yeah. So, building the empire. Norse invade again. Cormac is the leader. That's what it is, basically.
That's pretty much. Yeah. And
right.
they fight. Sigmar wins. Then
Go
it's
figure. And then it's into the third book. So yeah, no. After all this shit happens,
as anything with any trilogy, the second book really never matters.
yeah, no.
Okay, Catching Fire is my favorite book in the Hunger Games series, though.
Okay, Hunger Games is different though because the
third
everything
book
after the
doesn't
second book kind of goes to shit.
The third book in that series doesn't matter.
Okay, good. I was like, wait a minute, I love Catching Fire though.
Yeah, no, Catching Fire was really good. Oh man, you know what series I actually really love from that author?
What?
Gregor the Overlander.
Oh my god, it's one of my
It's the same author, but like no one knows about Gregor the Overlander, but it's so good.
It was because it was her first series.
Yeah, but it's so fucking good.
It's kind of like if you like the Seven Realms series, the Shadow Realms series by William Chima Willa Cinda Chima, I think.
Willem, yeah, it's something like that.
Her first series, remember the Warrior Heir? That book? The Warrior Heir?
Oh my god.
That's her first series.
That's
her first series, yeah.
That's the one where the dude he's born a wizard, but then they swap out the gem in his chest for
and they fuck with him.
Right?
And there's the Warrior's Hair, Sorcerer's Heir, and it kind of goes on and on. It's a different character over time, and yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god. That
Should
book
we
was
start a
so
book
good.
club?
No, please.
You can reread all the books that you read.
If
we're want to go through the emotional trauma again,
hold on. Second podcast, Patreon book club. There we go.
Perfect. We get paid for it.
I recommend first book for the book club. I Am the Messenger. Love that book. It was actually a book
I've heard that one.
It was recommended to me by Sherbert.
Ah,
really good book. I'm not gonna go into it because like we're an Age Sigmar podcast, but like we can talk about it after. It's a really good book.
Oh my god, dude. One of my favorite books is Hyperion, I think is what it's called. That book's wacky as fuck. Well, and it's got like sequels to it, but the first book's just so good. I never bothered to read the second and third one.
Something that's fucking hilarious about the Gregor the Overlander is like the first book's like, yay, kid fantasy, young adult, super fun. And the second one's, hey, it's a little darker, but hey, it's fun. Third book, as we gut this person and its guts spill everywhere and bloody fucking violence. Me reading this just for the first time. Who hurt you?
It grew with the audience.
The rats. But no, because the first two books are like, oh man, the second one's kind of dark and it's a little rough.
I would like to say it grew with the audience.
It really did. Like the first book was really fun, and the second book was a little dark, but still fun. And the third book was like gruesome violence, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And then it just gets fucking worse. And the fifth book is like, all of my friends are dead. Ha ha!
Did you ever learn Scratch? You remember that? They actually broke it down in the book.
Yes, I tried, but I'm stupid.
Dude, I actually like learned to Scratch.
Every now and then I'll go back and reread Overland. Like it's well below my reading level, but I just love it.
It's
love
good.
It.
It's one of those books that it's below your reading level, but also it's just such a good series.
What fucks me up though is the change of narrative because you go from Gregor the Overlander to Hunger Games, and Gregor the Overlander is told by a narrator. It's like Gregor does this, so and so does this, but Hunger Games is from Katniss's perspective. And like if I go from Catching Fire to Gregor, the first book is readjustment. The first book I'm like, why do you keep saying Gregor like you're not him? it hurts my brain. It
Yeah.
occasionally, sometimes it makes me go cross-eyed. I'll have to reread one page like 9 times. Like, this will make sense eventually, I promise.
Dude, oh my god. Okay, no, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks recently, and the series I'm currently
Really?
listening to... Shut the fuck up. The series
Every
I'm currently...
time I ride in the car with this bitch, hey, do you want to listen to the audiobook? I'm 17 books in, and this book's 946 pages. But here, let me explain the first 16 books so you can listen to this book currently and know what the fuck's going on.
Okay,
And I'm like,
to be fair, Philip has a really good summary.
that's except for Warhammer 40k.
Yes.
No, that's
And
kinda
that's fine,
accurate.
that's cool, but like I get about 3 hours into his explanation of the first 16 books, and I'm just like, God, if you're there, kill me.
Yeah, that was us, and...
Have him swerve into oncoming traffic and fucking end me.
That was us in the Wheel of Time. Oh,
Yes!
Hey, I got neighbors. No screaming.
Yes, it was.
but
I
no.
know I will never read the Royal Wheel of Time because I know how the fucking story goes. Beginning, middle, end. I know. All of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's accurate.
This has been Bitching with Cersei, sponsored by Lorecast Eternals.
But no, the current series I'm reading, I'm now on the 5th book with the 3rd narrator, and it fucks with me so hard.
This is an Age of Sigmar podcast. Let's continue.
Go die, Mitchell.
I was waiting for.
I am prepared to die.
I was waiting for it. Oh fuck. Okay. Put the thing back where it came from, or so help me.
Remember, vertical for results.
We here at Lorecast Eternals do not condone suicide.
I love that's a joke that nobody ever gets.
And that's how it should fucking
And that's
stay,
how it should
Mitchell.
fucking stay, Mitchell.
All right.
We had to redo, what, 30 minutes of an episode because of that?
Yep.
Yep.
Before we learned what editing things out was.
Yep.
Fuck. Third book, go.
Okay. So the start of the 3rd book is Sigmar committing genocide for the
Hey!
2nd fucking time.
He really doesn't
let's
like Norsemen.
go.
Yeah, no, literally. They talk about how they go into Norsey, and so when Sigmar was growing up, he had very much been like, you know, all men should work together for the betterment of mankind.
Norsey
and then
are not
he'd look
men.
at the Norsey and be like, yeah, they're men, and then literally everyone else would turn and look at him and go, no, they're not. No, they're not men. They are not men. Do not try and negotiate with them. Do not try and work with them. They are not men. And, you know, for a while there, Sigmar was like, oh, well, I don't really think that. And then he has to fight Norseys. This time around, he looks at the Norsey and go, I'm fucking tired of your bullshit. And they proceed to literally go town to town, village to village, and slaughter every single man, woman, and child, and raze all of their villages to the ground.
Sigmar.
They cross the oceans, or they cross the frozen sea, and proceed to just commit mass genocide.
Sigmar walking into the Norskin Mountains. It smells like bitch in here.
Yeah, no. And they proceed to he takes the entirety of his force to do this. And they just slaughter everyone. You know how the Norseys feel about this? They finally acknowledge the Empire as a worthy foe. He literally murders their children, and they go, all right, this might be a worthy fight.
Wow.
Just to give you an idea of how the Norsey mentality, it's fucked. It's so fucked.
What I'm hearing is Sigmar had to act like a Norse kid for the Norsans to realize they might not be bitches down there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so yeah, that's really what seeds the Norscan belief of like the Empire is our enemy, not just somewhere to raid, but truly our enemy. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
It's all that beer.
I've just been gassy all day. I don't know why.
It's all the cheese.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Did I mention I'm lactose intolerant?
Oh
Cheese
God.
will sneak up on you. I mean, realistically,
I'm not.
if you consume enough dairy, one day you might be. Lord knows my milk drinking ass is probably heading there sometime.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I'm amazed that James isn't.
Just
And
I love
listen
the
to the
fact.
podcast. What the fuck?
I love how he was insulted so bad by just saying, "Dare you to drink a glass of water."
To be fair, Jeremy did say lukewarm water, but still.
Oh my god, it's not that bad.
We're drinking water at room temperature.
Yeah, we're drinking lukewarm right now.
Lukewarm tap water.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Listen, Bastrop water got hella calcium. It'll help your bones.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, it's way better than Brian water.
Are you staring at demons again?
Oh man, I need to. Talking about water, I need to pee.
You're the main guy for the third
We're
book.
gonna be really quiet and just listen to Philip pee and give him anxiety.
Fucking not. You know what? I'm gonna pee on you.
The restroom is very
Chocolate
close.
rain.
Stop making me laugh, damn it.
Oh fuck. But yeah, what are some interesting Sigmar facts that you have found in your notes? Because you read a little, you read a little farther than I. Because I was
some background on the gash.
that too. Because I had just stuck to my book, and you read a little farther ahead than I did.
I
so.
read half of this wiki. That was really about it.
Bruh.
Dude, that took me
No, you're
forever.
sick. You're sick. You're sick. I'll give it to you.
Thanks.
Okay, fine. The gash facts.
The gash facts.
He sucks.
Oh god. Well, Nagash created the first vampire, which is Neferata. I don't know. I think the most interesting fact is Arcan laid pipe with Neferata.
What we got out of him is Nagash made the first vampire, and Arkan the Black laid pipe with Neferata. Them's the Nagash facts we got.
Yep.
Wait, what does that have to do with Nagash?
Nagash made Neferata, so I guess Arcan was fucking Nagash's daughter to a certain extent. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, well, that was interesting.
Continuing.
Moving on. So yeah, Nagash was Nagash human? I always forget.
Nagash
This.
started off as a Nekaharan member of the mortuary cult.
Yeah, he was
That's right.
So he was the firstborn, but the process of being the firstborn, you were automatically
Given
told.
the mortuary cult, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, and it was your secondborn that would rule.
But he was always bitter about the fact that he wasn't going to rule, and he felt that as the firstborn, he should rule, and they were like, but that's not our custom. So Nagash was like, fine, fuck you, I'm going to become an eternal skeleton bone daddy death god and kill you all in fucking 5,000 years. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite pieces of Nagash lore is after he was exiled from Nekahar, at one point in time, he found some Skaven who had, like, warp stone inside of them because they'd eat it, and he, like, killed a Skaven and, like, drank its blood. Or just ate it because he was like, tasty, tasty warp stone.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's
the more
actually
you know.
That's actually why he made
Nagash
his,
is whack.
That's why Nagashazar is where Nagashazar is, specifically because there is a gigantic deposit of warpstone in that particular piece of the mountain range. Oh. And that's why Skaven try and fuck with it constantly. That's why Nagash is like, abandon all hope, ye who enter here, because there be death magic fucking I think at one point he like animates rats to dig up fucking warpstone for him, and every time rats come to fuck with his shit, they just die instantly, and then he reanimates them to start digging up warpstone.
That's amazing. I used the rat to kill the rat.
And then I use the rat to get the warpstone that then draws in the rat.
Yep. The ever-living cheese.
Legend would be proud. All right. God King.
Okay, God King.
Genocides the Norsey.
Genocides the Norsey. And while he's up there, shit starts going weird.
For him or for the Empire?
For the Empire. Shit starts going weird. Like, really weird.
Okay,
Like,
weird good, weird ha-ha,
Death
weird
winds
bad.
start blowing from the south.
Okay.
And everybody's like, that's a little weird.
That's not...
And then the dead start coming, and they're like, oh, this ain't good. So yeah, all of a sudden, the dead just start flooding into the Empire on all fronts. And everyone's like, oh, this is fucked. So the dead start flooding in, and they are just wrecking shit. And Sigmar finally hears about this, and he's like, oh shit, I need to get back to... I always want to call it Altdorf.
Rexdorf.
Rexdorf. Thank you.
Reichsdorf does become Altdorf, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I always want to call it Altdorf, but like technically that's not the right thing.
It doesn't really
Anyway.
matter. You can use both interchangeably. You can interchange both of them.
I need to double check my notes, make sure I'm saying things right.
Do you want to do the whole like that one tribe that was nomadic and the dead were like, where the fuck are you? And they were like, right.
Oh
here,
no, we'll
bitch
get to
stab.
that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We will get to that. But yeah. So.
Bruh, get a hold of yourself.
God, I don't
Are
know
you
why.
fucking okay?
Do you need
I
some
think I'm
Tums?
No, it's not fucking acid. I'm just really burpy today. I don't know why.
You haven't drank in a while, so maybe your body's just like, oh look, booze.
Yeah, except I was burping before that.
I'm gonna blame the cheese.
Yeah,
The
that's my blame.
cheese tax.
No, I'm gonna blame that shitty.
I mean, when y'all leave, I'm just gonna make myself a quesadilla.
No, I'm gonna blame that shitty trashy trailer park.
Yeah.
I feel so bad because yours looked kind of small too, and mine was like hulking, and I was like, I'm throwing.
Yeah, well, hey, at least the Democrat was good.
Which really sucks. I was like, man, mine's
No, we're
delicious.
talking
You were
about
like, that was the
tacos.
worst goddamn trailer park I ever had, and I was like,
Tacos at Torchy's are really good tacos.
Except when
dude,
they're not.
that brush fire was really good.
Dude,
Because it was nice and spicy, but the mango was sweet and kind of dulled the spice.
Oh,
like, it was
no,
just- it was
there is
just
one
pleasant.
important thing I
It was
forgot.
a pleasant spice.
There were very few survivors of the North Sea genocide,
do you want
but two
big
of them
tablet?
were Azazel and Morcar.
At that point, I think Azazel is still technically Garen.
Yes.
In name, but yeah, it was, remember Garen? It was Garen and Morcar. So what will become the first ever chosen and what will become the Demon Prince Azazel, the favorite of Slaanesh, are the only two
Oh,
to
yeah.
survive. Of fucking course, because wasn't he up there to look for Garen as well?
Sorry, I had to take a drink of water. Yeah, no. So the a big part of the reason that he heads north is specifically to find Gideon. What the fuck is his name?
Garen,
thank you.
And I'm assuming murder him.
Yeah, that had been a large part of it, is to find him and Morcar. And then he gets there.
Well, hold on. Was he looking for Morcar? I don't think so. Morcar was just a baby. I think Morcar would just happen to be a survivor.
I think he was looking for Garen. And Morcar was his apprentice.
Morcar happened to be with Garen. I swear to God, every time you talk about Sigmar murdering all of the Norsey, but misses Garen and Morcar, I keep thinking of Frieza from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. It's like between you and the fat one, I feel like I've lost my touch at genocide.
Yeah, a little bit. But no, so
no. It's when he saw Goku. Between you and the Namekian, because it was a Saiyan. Between you and the Namekian, I feel like I've lost my touch of genocide.
I fucking love DBZ abridged.
It is a masterpiece.
It's so funny. But no, so they head north, and Sigmar's really close to hunting down Garen and Morcar.
But then he's like, "Fuck, the Empire's like
No,
on fire."
No. His friend
Wolfguard.
Yeah, Wolfguard. Wolfguard is like, no, we need to head back. Let's stop here. It's not worth it to hunt them down. And then, of course, Morcar becomes the first ever chosen.
It's like, maybe it would have been. Yeah. But realistically, at the time, that was the logical choice because going into the Chaos Wastes is not good for one.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing the surrounding Norsey
they were getting out of the Norskin homeland and going into the Chaos Wastes, and they're like, yeah, this is not good.
Yeah, no, we should not go there. But no, so. Let me double check my notes real quick. Yeah. So Nagash starts sending his forces north. And he's very much like, okay, I want to find my crown. And
but Sigmar took the crown off in the second book, so where did he put the crown?
He buried it in a vault under Reichsdorf.
Just call it Altdorf.
Altdorf. Thank you.
Gotcha. The capital of the Empire.
Yeah. Well, Sigmar's capital, anyway.
No, that's the continuing capital.
Well,
I think even when even if the Emperor isn't like a Reichsman, I think it's still
anyway.
Altdorf as
The point
capital.
being, he buries it in the vault underneath his capital. And
hey.
What is this, Storm Vault?
Get the fuck.
I will fucking hurt you,
Mitchell. Mitchell, this is a Warhammer Fantasy podcast.
It is for this episode, bitch. But no, so
Everyone stare at him. Everyone stare at him.
No, that's right. Sorry, there is one event that happens first. So Sigmar actually does return from fucking over the Norsey, comes back, and then he goes looking for this ancient weapon called an organ gun.
He goes looking for dwarven cannons.
Yes.
Does he know they're dwarven cannons?
I don't remember, to be honest.
What I find fucking hilarious is
like,
that
that's the funny thing.
an organ gun is just like 4 small cannons on one wooden like brace, and that's all it is.
Yeah, it's just 4 cannons strapped together. That's all it is.
Like, that's not great dwarven technology. Just like taking the 4 cannon, put some duct tape, some WD-40, got yourself an organ gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, what it is.
But no, so he's going around looking for this, and a person comes up to him. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna give me my crown back, right?"
He's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Who the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna give me my
Was
my crown back."
Nagash trying to be peaceful at first?
Nagash doesn't give a fuck. If he can get the crown back without any effort, like, good for him.
Do you think he still would have tried to attack the Empire if he had gotten the crown back?
He would have gotten the crown back and then killed the Empire anyway. Like, that's Nagash. But no, so
Might not have been right then, but it would happen eventually.
yeah, exactly.
That's my Nagash for you.
Exactly.
Spin the wheel. Elder Bones. Gigantic egotistical prick.
All I can think about is Doot with the sickness.
Oh.
I will be building him soon because I do want to play him.
Yeah, John and Dumb Mitchell hasn't built Nagash yet, and I am filled with nothing but rage. But he has figured out his army for now, till it changes again.
What do you mean? I play all my armies.
Aww.
God damn it,
Your
Lana.
cat does that on your carpet too.
She does that when she eats too much.
Dude, Loki does that too, and it pisses me off. It's like, listen here, you fat bitch. You just stop eating half of the fucking, like a gallon of fucking cat food. This wouldn't be a problem. But no, you have to inhale your food. I'm thinking he'll learn that from Lotta. Or not Lotta, fucking Freya. Because she did that shit. Fucking like, Freya, your
He
cat.
did it before Freya.
Then no, but he did it a lot more when Freya was around. I think he was competing because your cat would like eat like she hadn't eaten her entire life, and Loki was like, "That's my food, you bitch," and then he would do it.
Which is funny because she eats a very reasonable amount now.
I
don't know if it,
fucking hate
I think
you.
it might be because she's depressed. Because she doesn't have Dad Cat with her anymore.
Maybe like she lost the competition, so what's the point? There's no one to compete against. I've lost the reason to do it.
No, in all seriousness, though, my
I'll
cat
go
is doing
clean
fine.
that up.
Bro, your cat smeared it too.
I know.
I thought I saw a paw print.
God damn it.
Rip.
I'll be back.
Listen, all I can say is motherfucking mood, Kindred. I cleaned some of that shit up today before I left for podcast. Smokey will do it in my fucking chair. He'll sit in the chair and start hawking, and I'll look at him. I don't even do like, 'cause normally, like if I tell my cat, I go, and that's my move. That's my sound to move. I'll just look Smokey in the eye and be like, "Listen here, you little motherfucker. If you don't get the fuck off of my chair and go vomit somewhere that's not on my furniture, I'm gonna take you by your tail and fucking flail you around until you die." No, don't eat it, you prick! Like, I'll just look at Smokey and start making very vile threats, and Smokey will be like, I'm gonna move now, and he'll just go vomit somewhere in the fucking corner, and I'm like, what I fucking thought. For those who are concerned, I would never do that to my cat, but as long as he thinks that I will. Realistically, Smokey does it because he's nice to me. Realistically, that cat doesn't give a singular fuck. If he wanted to vomit on my bed on me while sleeping in, he would, and I'll probably still pet him after.
Yeah. No, so... Sigmar promptly tells Nagash to fuck off.
Get a warm rag on that, too.
Brother, please pay attention to
I'm
me.
sorry, I'm just reveling in Mitchell's pain right now.
So, Sigmar tells Nagash to promptly fuck off. So Nagash is like, cool, dead it is.
Cool, you've chosen the option, get murdered now, instead of get murdered later.
Exactly. So at this point, the bones rise up and just start murdering everyone.
Is there a reason why Sigmar said no? I mean, I'm assuming he was like, no one should have this crown, but
Yeah.
is there another reason, or was he like, was there like a, no one should have this crown, or was it like a, I don't like your face, so no?
He knows it's a very potent crown and things like that, and like random strangers coming up to him in the forest who are also undead zombies. It's just like...
Oh, was Nagash like clearly undead, or was he using like an undead messenger?
He had possessed a corpse that looked very much alive, but with pale, pasty skin. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah.
Right, gotcha.
Basically undead messenger. But yeah, so Sigmar is like, oh shit, I need to get back home now. And so he's riding hard and fast, and just everywhere around him, people are fucking dying.
Like in the Empire?
Yeah, because they just get assaulted from all sides.
Does he have his army with him, or was it him by himself?
He has a contingent of warriors with him.
Was his army following behind him, or was he like, hey, keep genociding Norsea, I'm gonna go home?
No, he'd made it back from Norsea by this point.
Oh, okay.
There was a small time jump. I knew that he had to travel home. I forgot that there was a little jump in there in time. But yeah, so he's riding, and he's realizing that the dead are slowly converging on Reichdorf. So he's like, oh shit, I need to get home. So he goes to Reichdorf, and he gets there, and one of his closest advisors, Eoforth, is like, hey, I figured it out. Because at this point, they didn't know who the fuck this was. They were like, but Eoforth, thank you, came to Sigmar, and he was like, hey, look, I've been combing the stacks of our library, and I figured out who this is. This is Nagash, and we have his crown. This is Nagash's crown. Every time this crown
what we have is a fucking problem.
Yeah, no, literally. Because every time this crown appears in history, horrible disaster very quickly follows. Mm-hmm. And Eoforth is like, yeah, we need to, like, get fucking rid of this or do something. Because this shit sucks. This is not good, because they are going to come here and take the crown by force.
Gotcha. And probably kill the entire empire in the process.
Yeah, that's very much what they do. And so as this army is slowly closing in on Reichdorf, they are isolating and destroying every other fighting force in the Empire. Because Nagash knows that the Empire's strength is its unity. So he is intentionally trying to
apes together strong.
Yeah, he is intentionally trying to cut off all the different clans in their citadels.
So basically, he's just trying to box them in so they can't join together in one big ass army and fight him.
Exactly. And so, for instance, there's some clans up in the mountains that retreat into their mountain citadels, and they're literally like fighting guys off of their mountains. If remember that scene from Dark Descent where Price is in her office, and you just see the flood of aliens or xenomorphs coming up the side of the tower?
Yeah.
Yeah, that. That, but undead.
Like Zamboni, are we talking like Vargulfs and shit?
Everything.
Gotcha.
No, Nagash is literally opening the gates of hell and just shitting out whatever he finds.
Gotcha. Bad things. Very bad things.
Yes.
I thought you said Zamboni.
Zambonis, yeah.
Oh.
I did say Zamboni.
Zombies.
That's almost how I always say Zamboni. Because it's zombies.
Okay, I'm thinking of the ice machine that goes around and drives on the ice.
Which is funny because that is a Zamboni. No, I just always... Okay, real quick tangent. That actually harkens back to my... oh my god.
Congratulations, I diagnosed you with old.
Fuck it, it harkens back to the days of 2016 is when I was, or my college days. My group, we just called Zombie Zamboni. That's how
it's like how me and Philip is saying dragons, we say Dargans.
Dargans, yeah. And then I went to a tournament, and I got my mat. When you participate
Magic
in
tournament, I'm assuming.
Yeah, MTG, yeah, 2016 one that was in Houston. Mm-hmm. You get a bunch of stuff for being a part of the tournament, and one thing I got was a mat. And I got my mat signed by a bunch of the artists of the cards. Actually, the mat that I use for my mouse and shit, that's that mat.
Yeah.
And I went and got a bunch of like not personalized, but like really unique tokens. And the deck that I was playing with, I use zombies, and so I got like 20 of these tokens. It cost me like $40, but God, they looked good. And he was like, I will sign every single one of these tokens because I'm the artist. And I'm like, oh my God, please. I said, my exact words were, yes, please give me the spicy Zambonis. And he was like, I fucking love it. And then he wrote Zamboni on every single fucking card in his particular autograph script with his name. And I was like, I can die happy. I no longer possess those tokens. I've lost them. Oh, it is the biggest of... It happened in my move from Victoria to Bastrop. I got lost in that.
God.
Big fucking sad. They look so good. It sucks because one of the things when you made your deck, I was like, I think I'll give them to Phil. I don't use them anymore. And you make Zambonis in your deck. But
yeah, Zambonis
it was not. It was not to be.
Which reminds me, I still need to pull out Lily Dreadhorde from that deck.
Oh, are you replacing her?
Yeah,
really?
Because she's a 4-draw when on sack, or she's a 4-draw on death.
Yeah, but you don't really have that many draw engines, so like.
No, the issue is I decked myself with her because I'll sack like 50 tokens.
Okay, but how often does that happen? Because she's a really good card.
Now that I'm a better Magic player, a lot. Yeah, like she's nice, but like that forced draw, like it almost killed me at one point because I went infinite, and then I was about to go infinite, and then realized I was about to have infinite draw.
Was it with Darren?
Yeah, I realized because he's now a big part of my combo, and I realized I was about to go infinite, and then I realized I had Dreadhorde on the board, and that was the game where I blew up Lily intentionally, and you all looked at me and you were like, "Why would I do that?" And I was like, "Cause I'm about to go infinite, and I would have decked myself." I would have decked myself on the stack and killed myself.
I got you. We are now a Magic the Gathering podcast.
Hey, Magic the Gathering has really cool lore.
Oh my god. Don't even get me started. The one time I have paid Philip back for like here's a 19-hour lore drop of this book I'm reading is when we were going to fucking Houston, I think, me and him, or something like that. And I was like, you're going to learn about Magic the Gathering lore now. And it was like 4 hours of me just word vomiting on him. He was just like, the whole time. His eyes were just panicked.
Yeah.
Glazed.
That's what Nick really likes is Magic the Gathering lore.
Oh my god, I fucking get down with the MTG lore. New podcast idea?
Stop, please. Okay, so, point is, they figure out it's Nagash. And they figure out that this crown is basically the symbol of their doom, because Nagash is going to come for it. So, Nagash starts coming for him. Yeah, and he starts isolating everyone that he can find, and so you have all these clans. Yeah, you're talking about
that one tribe with the Zambonis on the walls and shit.
Yeah. And there's some more tribe, and basically just everyone's getting fucked. Everyone's getting fucked by the dead. And then when they die, there's just more dead. So, like, nobody's having a good time. So
I mean, Nagash probably having a good time.
Yeah. The really funny thing is there are some stories that come out about some of the other tribes, but there was one tribe whose whole shtick was that they, where they lived, there were a lot of plains and whatnot, so they were horsemen. And at this time, they didn't have any permanent cities. This was one of the big tribes that made up the empire. But they had no permanent cities because they were all renowned horsemen, so they were more like Mongolians. And that they just always moved. And so literally the dead show up and they're like, we're here to kill you. And the tribes would take one look at that and they're just like, nope, pack up their shit and fucking leave. And the dead are like, wait, that's not fair.
You're not defending the settlement.
But where'd they go?
Wait a minute, where did the settlement go?
Yeah, no, literally, the dead show up and they're like, we're here to kill you.
Realizing this force is mobile, wait, that's illegal.
Yeah, no, and the dead are literally like, haha, we're here to fight you. And the horsemen are just like, no, you're not, and leave. And the dead are just like, wait, how do we catch them? Wait, hold up, they left. Where did they go? Hold up, where are they? And then the horsemen would just show up on their flank and be like, surprise, bitch, stab, and then fuck off again. And the dead were like, how the fuck do we fight these people?
Nagash, you might be Lord of the Dead, basically. You're not you're not God of the guerrilla tactics. Get fucked.
Yeah, basically. There was another citadel that was holding out that literally their whole shtick is this was a tribe that still practiced barbarian rage. Mm-hmm. And so literally they were surrounded inside of their citadel and they took one look over the walls and said, either we're going to fight and live or we're going to fight and die, but either way we're fighting, so we might as well do it high as balls. So every one of their warriors took a drug that made them all go into a berserker
Wild
rage.
Root or something like that.
Yeah, Wild Root. They all took Wild Root, went into a berserker rage, and just started murdering. And they just did this for the entire time that their settlement was besieged.
The jokes that I made when Phil told me this before the podcast was basically all these dudes dual-wielding axes murdering hordes of undead. I'm so fucking high right now!
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what they did. And they managed to hold off the undead, because they were just all like, murder.
That's, I mean, if it worked, it's not stupid, I guess.
Blood for the blood gods.
I swear to God. Okay,
Milk for the cornflakes.
If anyone here ever plays
Dawn of War.
Dawn of War 2, I think it was the Imperial campaign. There's a point where you meet a corn berserker who literally starts screeching blood for the blood god, but the way he does it, just imagine Richard Nixon with his jowls screeching blood for the blood god while shaking his face violently, and that's what he sounded like. Just, like, that was just the noises that it made, and they were, I remember I was playing it in college. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was making bad decisions, and I woke up my roommate because I was laughing so loud. I almost pissed myself, and I woke up my roommate and the two dorms to either side of me because I am like shitting myself, and I keep replaying the video, and it's just me laughing and something going as loud as you possibly can.
It's like that time I was playing League of Legends and I got a penta at 2 a.m. and everyone in the dorm around me was like, shut the fuck up! Fuck! My good old League days. Yeah. Those were wild. Those were bad decisions, but those were wild. But no, so Nagash starts marching for Rechtdorf. All these human settlements are barely managing to hold out. And he gets to Rechtdorf, and he has this final moment where during the his friend Eoforth ends up dying, and he ends up dying while searching for the knowledge on Nagash.
Rip the homie.
Are you looking for that fucking video?
I very much am.
Oh God!
I can still hear you. Just give me a second.
But no, so ends up dying. And so he goes to the Hill of Heroes, where all the heroes of his kingdom are buried. And he goes to lay his friend's body down. And in that moment, the ghosts of all of the people that he's ever loved come to him. And they carry away Eoforth's soul into the afterlife. And the only one who remains is King Bjorn, his father. And King Bjorn points at Reichdorf and sends him the message and is... what's the actual quote? Hang on.
Did you find it?
Notes.
No, I didn't.
Rip.
I found the Dawn of War 1 comparison, which is a more muted version of it.
Damn.
But it's still pretty funny.
Yeah. Points to the city and sends him a telepathic message and is like, know them and understand them, for it will make you mighty. And Sigmar just has this moment of clarity and he breaks down crying, like thankful for all the people that he's had in his life that have shaped him to be the man that he is. Goes down and...
Oh, is this Eoforth's funeral, basically?
Yeah. And he goes back down to the city.
He beats Nagash?
This is right before. So he goes back down to the city. Oh yeah, spoilers, he beats Nagash. Surprise, surprise.
Oh my god.
So he goes back down to the city and... basically manages to rally his men because they are facing a literal unending horde of the undead. And he rallies all of the men in his city, and he gives this really inspirational speech, which is really long. It's really beautiful, but it's really long, so I'm not going to say it here. But he gives this speech and finally sallies forth beyond the gates for one final charge. Imagine like Charge of the Rohirrim, but they are horribly outnumbered.
I mean,
they were
kind of were in that as well.
Yeah, well, except there was a lot less like, hey, we might actually win, and a lot more like, no, we're all going to die.
In the eternal words of Krillin from Dragon Ball Z Bridge, we're all gonna fucking die.
Yeah, exactly. So they all charge forth, and the might of their charge actually crushes the front ranks of the undead, and they actually manage to gain ground. But of course, that very quickly changes.
You're fighting the undead. That's an endless amount.
Yeah. So Sigmar actually gets separated from the army, and his army is pushed back to the gates of Reichsdorf. And they're actually started to be pushed into the city. But Sigmar and his companions manage to push forth. And they actually manage to make it to Nagash. At which point... one thing that Sigmar had done in order to tempt Nagash, because they actually discovered Eoforth with literally his dying breath, whispered to Sigmar Nagash's weakness. There is no power.
He's ego?
And there is no army that can defeat Nagash. The only thing that can defeat Nagash is Nagash.
Yes, his ego.
Is that what
pride?
Is that what he said?
Something like that.
That's amazing. That's something I've always said is Nagash's worst enemy is Nagash.
It literally is. So no, literally what Sigmar does is on this final charge, he's actually wearing the crown of sorcerers. But by this point in time, Sigmar's will is so great and his devotion to his people is so mighty that the crown has no hold over him.
Does he actually use the power of the ground?
No.
Oh, so he does
But
nothing
the crown
with it.
itself is like semi-sentient with Nagash's power.
Yeah.
So just wearing it has a corrupting effect.
So
But
why
Sigmar is filled with such righteous devotion to his people and his cause that literally the crown's like, oh yes, I'm gonna corrupt your soul, and then Sigmar's basically like,
Eat a fat
Sigmar's
dick.
soul is not here. The only thing that's here right now is Sigmar's devotion to his people. So fuck off.
Gotcha. I was wondering if he was like also using Nagash's power to piss him off more, but I guess it makes sense that he wouldn't do it because like fuck that power.
Yeah. I think he does use it a little bit, but more just to draw Nagash, and he doesn't really like do anything with it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so he charges up to Nagash, and Nagash, being a literal lord of the undead, is like, "Oh, that's cute," and fucking just starts slamming dark magic into him. Mm-hmm. And Sigmar is barely managing to hold up, and then another army arrives, an allied army arrives, and it distracts
of Nagash or of
Sigmar. One of his other
Was it the dwarves?
No, it was one of the other counts.
Damn it.
One of the other counts had managed to break out of their citadel and had come to assist Sigmar. Mm-hmm. And their arrival distracts Nagash just long enough that Sigmar is actually able to throw off the crown, at which point Nagash turns back and is like, my crown! And dives for it. And again, in a moment of just pure ego where he thinks that he's won.
He's like, I'm grabbing the crown, I'm gonna win.
Yeah, and he forgets literally everything else around him. And Sigmar takes Galmaraz and just slugs him straight in the chest with it, shatters his armor in a single blow, and Galmaraz ignites like the twin-tailed comet. And runes that had never been visible before on it ignite with pure flame.
Do you think that was because they were fighting the undead, or do you think?
Yeah, no, they react to Nagash's dark magic. And they're basically like, oh, this is a god. Oh, time to bring out all 120% of my power.
Gotcha. So
we're going full plus ultra.
So it wasn't really because
Exactly.
it was Nagash. It was more just because like the type of enemy you're fighting has finally reached the conditions needed.
Yeah, basically. But no, and smacks him in the chest, shatters his armor in a single blow, and the force of it is so mighty that it actually implodes his armor back into Nagash. And shatters his magically fused bones, and destroys Nagash's entire being. And the magical explosion that results from it destroys the entire undead and across the entirety of the empire. And just all as one, all of the enemies of the empire drop.
So what I'm hearing is he smacked Nagash so hard his ancestors felt it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. He smacked Nagash so hard, Nagash had to double check and make sure he wasn't dead.
He slapped the undead out of him.
Exactly. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say after this, does he just walk off into what would be technically a sunrise because it's the east?
Not yet, because he still has to fight Morkar.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that really, really important that happens after that.
So I'm assuming once he defeats Nagash like that, like that's the end.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like, Nagash is dead. Well,
as dead as Nagash can be.
Yeah, as dead as Nagash ever gets.
What did he do with the crown?
Shit. I don't think I read that part.
I'd have sunk that bitch to the bottom of the fucking ocean.
I don't remember, and I don't have it in my notes. All I know is that a greenskin eventually ends up with it. So I think they throw it in a river.
Azag the Slaughterer.
Yeah, I think they throw it in a river.
Huh.
I think. Because that's kind of what everybody does with it, is they get the crown and they realize what it is, and they're like, oh, fuck this shit.
Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. But no, one big important thing that happens because of this is Sigmar realizes that their enemies are not just mortal in nature, but immortal as well. So he founds the precursors to what would become known... Oh, and then he also curses the vampires. Mm-hmm. He curses the vampires and is basically like, you will forever be the enemy of me and my heirs. One important thing to note is that Sigmar sees the entirety of humanity as his heir.
Yeah. Basically,
so he curses vampires for all eternity,
will be humanity's enemy for all time.
Yeah, or until the end times is what he says.
Does he actually say end times?
I think so, yeah.
That makes me so angry.
Well, no, because the end times had always been a thing.
There's a prophecy of the end times, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. But no, he creates an order of the Empire's greatest warriors that end up becoming known as the Order of the Silver Hammer. Which are the precursors to a group known as the Holy Order of the Templars of Sigmar, but are colloquially known as the Witch Hunters. this is the start of the witch hunters.
Yeah. And while the witch hunters do fight all of humanity's enemies, they have a particular disdain for the, drumroll please, undead.
Yeah. No, they fucking hate the undead. Because that is who they were originally created to fight. That's why they're so good at killing undead.
Yep.
But no. So then the next big thing that happens, and this is actually beyond the story that we initially read, but the next big thing that happens is Morcar comes back.
Yeah, and that's a fucking problem.
Yeah,
because he comes back as the first ever chosen.
Yeah, he comes back the first ever chosen.
I think this is
known
the first,
as Morcar the Uniter.
I think this is the first time they really understand what chaos is, and they're like, "Oh no, the chaos gods are our enemy. Like these are the forsaken gods of the wasteland, and like they are a fucking problem, and they are actively searching for our demise."
Yeah, so this is demons from the realm of chaos are now materializing in the mortal realm alongside the Norsemen. Sigmar has to rally all of his armies again, and they go and fight. And this is the first great chaos invasion.
Yeah, I think he fights Morcar for like a day straight.
A day and a night. Mm-hmm. He fights for a day and a night, and they are both being blessed by their own respective pantheonic gods. And so Sigmar has the might of the human pantheon.
Ulrich and Tall and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. So they fight for a day and a night, and eventually he does come out victorious. Sigmar does.
Yeah, he does kill Morcar. Morcar doesn't retreat.
Yes.
He kills Morcar.
Yes.
Woo, let's
Kills him
go,
with
Team
Galmaraz, go figure.
Sigmar.
So at this point, so Sigmar does all of this before he's 50 years old.
Yeah, Ligmar, goddammit.
Sigmar nuts!
Sigmar lives a very eventful life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was taking a drink of water.
Wait, hold on. How old was Morcar then?
I believe Morcar was about 20.
He was fucking young.
Yeah.
Because I know Archeon, when Archeon went off in like to the Chaos to become the Ever-Chosen, like he was older. He was in his 30s or 40s, I think.
I think Morcar is supposed to be fairly young.
Yeah, because I don't think Sigmar...
He might have been 30.
I don't think Sigmar fucks off to the Empire until he's like... fucks off to fuck the Norsey over the second time until he's like 35 or 40.
Yeah.
And that's when Morcar was a child.
Yeah.
So Morcar was young. He was young.
Yeah.
Be that young and have that much power.
He was the first ever chosen. Kind of makes me wonder when Be'lakor was made in fantasy. Because I know his lore is different than...
Be'lakor was made during the time...
40K.
Be'lakor was made during the time of the old ones. Or a little before. He was made before the Vortex. Be'lakor was made a demon prince back when Chaos first came in and was like, oh man, old ones, magic, this world, fuck it. And like... So that's back when men was like in its absolute infancy.
Yeah,
like
when they were literally barely better than apes.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe I might be incorrect, but I know it was. I think it was before the Vortex. It was a while.
So then, in the I was wrong. So in the 50th year of his reign, so he comes to power when he's in his 20s. So he's now like 75. Mm-hmm. He's now like 70, 75 years old. He literally just gets up, sets his crown on his throne, picks up Galmaraz, and just disappears. He just wanders off.
Repeat that?
In the 50th year of his reign.
Of his reign, not his age.
Yeah, no. I was wrong about that. So he's like 70, 75.
All right.
Yeah, initially when I first read it, I was like, oh, he was 50. But no, he's like in his 50th year of reign. So he's like 70, 75. So Sigmar is now a very old man. Mm-hmm. So actually, no, I might have been wrong about that then. He may have actually been in his 50s or 60s at the battle with Morcar. So Morcar could have been older.
Oh, also, I was doing some research. We actually don't know what Be'lakor was. We don't know if he was human, dwarf, elf, man, or a complete...
We just know that he's one of the oldest.
Or a complete and total other race.
Yeah.
All I know is he was the first mortal.
The first mortal?
Mortal to become a demon prince.
Okay, so he was mortal at one point. That's good to know. But no, so... and so Sigmar's like 70, 75 years old now. He just takes off his crown, sets it on his throne, picks up Galmaraz, and fucks off into oblivion.
Fucks off to the north, doesn't he?
East. Yeah, he heads east.
Oh,
and he just starts kind of wandering around.
That's over there towards Cathay.
Well, not that far.
Okay.
Like, he's still in the Empire. But he just kind of disappears from sight. and he's very much like, I've done my task. I now declare all of humanity my heirs, and I leave the Empire to them. Because I was here to forge the Empire. It's now their job to keep it safe.
So do you know what's actually really, really cool about that?
What?
A promise he made to Ravina in the book that I'm reading. She said, I said, I want you to make me a promise. And and this is back when he was once again 15.
Yeah.
She was like, whatever you does, whatever it is, I agree to it. She goes, we don't know what it is. He's like, I love you, and whatever promise you ask of me, I will accept. And she goes, when the work is done, when you have beaten back humanity's enemies, when you have forged your empire, and when things are safe, you'll put down your weapons and you'll leave it behind. And he agreed.
Yep. Yeah, so this is him fulfilling his promises.
Yeah.
Like, the work is done. We are now experiencing peace. So he just sets down his crown.
That's actually
I
read that and I was like, holy fuck, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because like Ravina is the only woman he's ever truly loved.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's an important thing to note. After Ravina's death, he never, as far as we're aware, he never takes another wife. He never sires any kids. That's how strong his devotion to her was.
Yep.
But yeah, he walks through the streets of Reichsdorf like he had as a kid, savors everything he sees before him, the peace that he's wrought, and the unity that he has brought to his land,
just fucking leaves.
and just leaves.
Yeah,
and he wanders around for a little bit.
Because this is after the Gash, after Morcar. This is like the big challenges are done. He's like, oh yeah, no, they're safe now.
Yeah. So, and he wanders around for a little bit. There's a couple instances where he pops up in some other towns for a little bit, talks to people, kind of guides budding leaders for a day or two, and then leaves again. The last time we see him, he's 80 years old, and he goes back to the pass, Blackfire Pass. Thank you. He goes back to Blackfire Pass because an exalted greater Lord of Change is there, fucking around.
And if you remember, Lords of Change, those are Zinchi greater demons.
Yep. He goes back there and using Galmaraz seals him away, basically single-handedly
At 80
years old. At which point,
man's a fucking unit.
He really is. At which point, he drops the hammer on the pass and disappears from the history books.
So he doesn't lose it; he just drops it. He's like,
Yeah,
he's like, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
I think that was his. I'm sorry.
I'm not so sure about that one. But the point is he leaves it behind and just disappears.
If you really want to think about it, he could have just been transported into the Winds of Azir because of the Lord of Change.
Yeah, that might have been what happened.
Yeah.
Because I know during End Times, whenever he possesses Karl Franz, after Karl Franz dies, the first time, or the second time, because he kind of got killed before. Whatever. Point being is that they never really say that he descended from godhood. They said that his soul was trapped. I forget where I read this, but they said his soul was trapped inside the Winds of Azir.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very much... Ultimately, the point is that he disappears from the history books, and Galmaraz is left in the past.
To be fair, once an 80-year-old man single-handedly fucking cup checks a greater demon, I'm pretty sure they're like, yeah, he's a god. He's a god. That's cool. That's what that is.
Yep.
That's some big
lowercase
right
G god,
that
but
is,
not uppercase G god.
Yeah, he's lowercase G god, but he's a god, because that is some big E energy right there. What are you doing? Oh, I'm fucking demon. What?
Yeah.
Can you say that in my good ear?
But no, so he disappears, and Galmaraz is lost. But 100
I want to say
150
lost.
years-
Nobody just knew where to find it.
I think that's the definition of lost.
Nah,
Mitchell.
because we knew where it was.
Go take your meds, Mitchell.
I'm going to hurt you. So, Galmaraz is lost, but the dwarves, in recognition of just how potent Galmaraz was as not only a weapon, but as a symbol.
And also, I think they're like friendship with Sigmar and humanity.
Yeah, and to symbolize their friendship. They recreate Galmaraz
To the best of their ability.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good because Galmaraz, the technology to do it and the materials to create it were lost. But they recreate it as best they can using the best their runesmiths can.
Of the entire Karazankor, which once again, the Karazankor is the entirety of the dwarven people.
Yeah, like literally the entire dwarven race got together and said, we want to honor Sigmar. And so they forged this thing. So for literally every emperor that has ever wielded Galmaraz between the time of Sigmar and Karl Franz, they actually aren't wielding Galmaraz. They're wielding a good replica, but not the real thing. It isn't until the time of Karl Franz that explorers in Blackfire Pass recover it. They discover it again, and they bring it to Karl Franz. The really interesting
Which
thing
is
to note
really
about
fucking hilarious because then he promptly because I remember what happened is Carl Francis presented Galmaraz, and during that time they had I think it's Vaten or Vaten, who was a blacksmith who was found by the cult of Sigmar and was said to be Sigmar reborn, and so Carl Francis was like, do I take the hammer or do I give it to Vaten? Because a lot of people were like, oh, he's Sigmar reborn, he should be emperor. And Carl Francis was like, how do I play this where like a fucking civil war doesn't start? So he's basically like, I see you as Sigmar reborn, and so I present to you your hammer, and to do what you will with like the will of Sigmar and for the betterment of humanity, but you are not the emperor.
Yeah.
I lead you do things for the good of humanity. I lead the people.
Yeah.
And I present to you your hammer to do that with. And that's kind of how he plays that, to where he doesn't have, a fucking civil war on his hands.
Yeah. Do you know what happens there?
To Vaten?
I'm not familiar with that story.
To Vaten?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, end times happened. He 1v1s Archeon for like 30 seconds before a fucking Vermin Lord, which in fantasy were basically the only demons that the Great Horn Rat had at the time.
They're still the only demons the Great Horned Rat has.
And a Vermin Lord is like, tee and like throws a fucking scythe or a gigantic rat ninja star or something and decapitates Vaten while he's fighting Archeon because end times is ass.
Gotcha.
Oh, also something else I learned is so the Great Horn Rat, his realm in the realm of chaos, is the most populous realm of the Chaos Gods. That's how many Vermin Lords there are. They're not 1 in a million. There are so many, and Vermin Lords are more akin to greater demons than lesser demons.
Yeah.
That's just the only demon that the Great Horn Rat made. Is there are so many, he has the most populous realm. It's just that the Vermin Lords at their heart are Skaven, and they're like, why the fuck would we go to the Water Realm? We have our own plans. Fuck everyone else. Yeah. They see other Skaven as more like pets.
Tools.
No. Actually, a lot of Vermin Lords actually have some weird like paternal affection for Skaven, but more as like, oh, you're a cute dog.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you to die because you're my kitty cat and I love you, but like that's as far as it goes. And they, not all are like that, but that's how a lot are. They have a really condescending, like, but somewhat parental affection towards them. But they're also just like, where Skaven are like 3 steps ahead of everyone else, but because they're Skaven, they're actually 4 steps behind everyone else.
Yeah.
The Vermin Lords are like, yes,
There's 3 steps ahead until they get close to completing the plan, in which case they all descend into infighting and get 4 steps behind.
Yeah, no, Vermin Lord are honest to God like 4D chess type moves ahead. Like Vermin Lord scheme in ways so complex, not even Skaven can follow it.
That sounds about right.
So that's what they're like. Why the fuck would I go to the mortal realm?
One important note about the replica Galmaraz. Ironically enough, so like I said, the dwarves imbue a bunch of runic magic into its creation.
Into the replica, right?
Into the replica. So they give it to the Empire. The fervor for Sigmar is so strong, and their faith in him is so great, the people, that Galmaraz actually takes on might of its own beyond which was imbued by the runes of the dwarven smiths.
That's some real orc energy.
It kind of is. It's a little terrifying.
It's also kind of some, like, Adeptus Sororitas energy, because Adeptus Sororitas do dumb shit because they believe in it.
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. It's basically...
Power of faith!
We believe this is Galmaraz, so it becomes Galmaraz, basically.
Yeah, a little bit.
So the implication there is, like, Galmaraz is probably stronger because of plot armor things, but realistically, the replica was as strong as Galmaraz was, ignoring, like, the whole, like, oh, I have to go fight Archeon now.
Yeah. Ignoring having to literally kill a god, looking at you, Nagash, yeah, it was good enough.
Yeah. It was still one of the most potent weapons on the planet at that point, probably.
Yeah.
It was still good enough. To the point where it didn't matter until end times, at which point they were like, here's the actual Galmaraz, and it became not an issue.
It's actually funny. So by the time Vaten dies, the Emperor's already been possessed by Sigmar, but he doesn't have the hammer. And then, so he's like doing Sigmar things and like trying to figure out how the fuck end time is going to play out. And then, like, I think he's at one point he's fighting Archeon, and Archeon's like kind of pushing his shit in, and then he finally gets his hammer back, and basically Archeon's like, what? And Sigmar's like, I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah.
And like basically is just like, by the power of Grayskull, motherfucker, and like kind of starts, pushing his shit in a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's because of that fight where Archeon like almost gets bodied by Sigmar himself, that whenever they go into the Age of Chaos and Sigmar's like, I got you in my sights, bitch, and yeets the hammer at him, Archeon's like, I'm not fighting that, and yeets Galmaraz into oblivion.
No, it was actually an illusion of Archeon, and like,
well, no, that's the point.
And
though.
it goes into a fucking portal. And,
that's the point though. Is that Archeon takes a look at that and is like, I'm not fighting that. Fuck all of that.
That, no bueno.
Yeah. And so he yeets Galmaraz into a different realm.
Fucking Sigmar wielding Galmaraz looking at Archeon. Archeon, Mr. Superman, no here. I'm in danger.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of the origins of Sigmar.
Yeah, and then he just wakes up on the world that was
Not as an 80-year-old man.
not as
Yeah,
an 8-year-old man,
it's
as a
act-
god.
As a god, yeah.
He kind of woke up to a Dargon going like, "Hey, bud, you okay?"
Yeah, because the world ended literally as he and Archeon were fighting to the death. And like whenever they're like, we're gonna do this ritual to like stop the chaos magics from blowing up the planet, Sigmar was like, "Why am I a magician? But I can keep Archeon off your ass." And they're
Yeah.
like, "That's all we need." And that was why, like, even though the magic failed and like the world blew up, Sigmar was like, "If I'm down, I'm taking this bitch with me." And like that's how the world ended, with those two locked in a death match.
Yep. And then, of course, it didn't matter.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, on
well,
that note, how long is this episode out of curiosity?
Yeah,
2 hours,
2.5 hours.
It's a good one. One of
Yeah.
our longer ones.
Yeah.
Not our
That's-
longest, but it's one of our longer ones.
Yeah. No, I love the fight with Nagash.
it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Literally,
I love Nagash.
He just takes Galmaraz.
I love Nagash
and-
because he's a prick, and that's the really
What's
biggest
his name?
reason.
Elarath or Elarath, the dude who died.
Oh,
Eoferth.
I think it's Eoferth.
Eoferth.
Eoforth.
Sigmar, come closer. Yes. Nagash, a huge bitch. I used the Nagash to kill the Nagash.
Kinda. But no, I love that. That just literally Sigmar's like, here's your fucking crown. And Nagash is like, fucking rat eyes. And it's just like, and Sigmar's like, joke's on you,
I
bitch.
cast bonk.
Joke's on you, bitch. I cast hammer.
What are you doing, Sigmar? Spin the wheel, bonk. Fucking
I
Nagash
just like,
explodes.
I like to think that Nagash just like dives for it, and then like you get a Tom and Jerry skit where Sigmar, no, Sigmar just winds up like it's a golf strike and just,
He just fucking annihilates him.
and just like hits him with that, goes full backhand, and then just holds his hands up to his eyes and watches as Nagash goes sailing off into the distance.
There's pure silence. All you hear
So-
is home run.
No.
It's like Wii
Team
Sports
Rocket
baseball.
blasting off again.
It is Wii Sports baseball.
No, just Team Rocket blasting off again. Ding.
Oh Lord, but I think that's it. Yeah, good episode.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Anything else? No.
Yeah. No.
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 Like we said at the beginning, next episode is going to be an anniversary episode. We're going to be putting up the Q&A. It's probably going to be open for roughly a week, and then we're going to close it. And just to reiterate that, I think that's about it. So we'll see you motherfuckers next episode with maybe, another fucking 4 to 6 hour anniversary.
We shall see.
Oh, God.
Yep. Oh God. Maybe I won't be coughing up a lung.
Watch your toes, Jacob. I'm backing up.
Okay. Well, bye, guys.
Bye.
Hasta luego.